eyes, then simultaneously leaped high, all 9 spirit rings shining brightly, and the 9th spirit ring suddenly burst forth with dazzling light. 9th spirit ability, salvation of all beings. 9th spirit ability, burning of 10,000 tribulations. The two brothers, with minds in sync, intertwined the phantom images of their coiling dragon rods in midair, forming a pillar of light imbued with destructive aura. It tore through the air, carrying suffocating pressure, and slammed fiercely towards the sky azure bull python and the titan giant ape. Space fluctuated violently, the lake water churned into towering waves, and trees on the shore were uprooted, twisting into pretzels in the air. The sky azure bull python and the titan giant ape roared, pushing their two domains to the extreme, attempting to resist this terrifying spirit ability. However, after one breath, the pale blue and earthy yellow auras shattered like glass, and the domains broke instantly. N.A.N and Jiang controlled the lingering power of their spirit ability to sweep across. The pillar of light grazed the sky azure bull python's scales, leaving a scorched mark. The titan giant ape hastily blocked with its arm, but was sent stumbling back repeatedly, the fur on its arm already singed. Seeing this, King Ru's face turned pale, and a look of determination flashed in her eyes. Her figure flickered, activating her teleportation skill, instantly appearing in front of the two spirit beasts, a golden light shield glowing around her. The Paragon golden body was fully activated. The light shield flowed with almost material spirit power, capable of withstanding attacks far exceeding her own rank. Bang! N.A.N and Jiang Mo's coiling dragon rods slammed heavily onto the Paragon golden body, emitting a deafening roar. The golden light shield vibrated violently but remained unbroken, and the recoil force, erupted like a tsunami. N.A.N and Jiang Mo felt a massive force surge from the rods. Their arms went numb, and they involuntarily flew backward. They tumbled several times in the air, barely stabilizing themselves, but when their feet landed, they were still pushed by the force, carving out several zhanglong arcs on the ground, leaving 2 deep trenches. The sky azure bull python and the titan giant ape finally breathed a sigh of relief. If that spirit ability had hit them directly, they would have been seriously injured, and the situation would have become even more difficult. Xiao Wu seized the opportunity to teleport onto the titan giant ape's shoulder, looking at King Ru nervously, her rabbit ears pressed tightly against the back of her head. Chrysanthemum Duoluo and Ghost Duoluo saw that the time was ripe. 9 spirit rings simultaneously appeared around their bodies, yellow, purple, and black intertwining. 18 spirit rings shone brilliantly in the air, emitting a heart-pounding aura. The two exchanged glances, then charged towards the spirit beasts, simultaneously leaping up and approaching each other in midair, their spirit power suddenly fusing. Spirit fusion ability, 2 extreme stillness domain. The two spoke in unison. The moment their voices fell, the surrounding wind seemed to solidify, and space fell into an eerie silence. The 4 spirit beasts, Sky Azure Bull Python, Titan Giant Ape, King Ru, and Xiao Wu suddenly stiffened, as if trapped by invisible shackles, unable to move an inch. This 2 extreme stillness domain could temporarily freeze time and space. When spirit power was not significantly different, it was an absolute control-type spirit ability. The only drawback was that Chrysanthemum Duoluo and Ghost Duoluo, who activated the skill, were also unable to move, suspended in midair like statues. Within a 50-meter radius, centered on Chrysanthemum Duoluo and Ghost Duoluo, the 4 spirit beasts and the 2 titled Duoluo remained motionless, creating an unusually bizarre scene. "What's going on? I can't move." Xiao Wu's eyes turned red with urgency as she tried to struggle, but her body remained perfectly still. "Ming, Mama, how are you?" "I can't move either. This domain is so strange." The Sky Azure Bull Python's voice carried a hint of panic. The Titan Giant Ape let out an angry growl, but could only watch helplessly as its body remained frozen. Qing Ru's brows were tightly furrowed. She fully activated her spirit power, but was still unable to break free from the invisible restraint. Kyan Zunji saw that the time had come. His figure suddenly vanished, reappearing in front of the spirit beasts. His first spirit ring lit up, and golden angel spirit power condensed in his fist. Angel assault! With one punch, the sky azure bull python's massive body was sent flying onto the shore like a broken kite, crashing through dozens of giant trees before stopping, kicking up a sky full of dust. Immediately after, he kicked, and the titan giant ape was also sent flying. With a final spinning kick, Xiao Wu shot through the air like a white meteor, landing not far from the sky azure bull python. A long, shallow furrow was plowed into the grass, and all the surrounding vegetation was broken. Kyan Zunji backhanded a palm strike to King Ru's chest. Angel spirit power surged in like fine needles, instantly sealing her spirit power. He grabbed King Ru's collar, flickered, and was back beside Kyan Rengsu. The entire process was fluid, taking only a few breaths. Using Angel Assault 3 times in a row was a significant drain on Kyan Zunji. Although he was already rank 97, his spirit power intensity was close to that of a rank 99 super duelluo. These 3 attacks still consumed 1/10 of his spirit power. The Sky Azure Bull Python, Titan Giant Ape, and Xiao Wu struggled to look at the captured King Ru, their eyes filled with worry and anger. Qing Ru also looked at them, her gaze complex, with anxiety and a hint of helplessness. "They're fine," Kyan Zunji said lightly. "Their spirit power has just been purified by me. As long as you cooperate, I won't harm them." The Sky Azure Bull Python shook its groggy head, struggling to get up, its massive body trembling slightly from spirit power exhaustion. The Titan Giant Ape stood up, its chest heaving violently, its pupils fixed on Kyan Zunji. Xiao Wu also limped to her feet, her rabbit ears drooping, but she still bared her teeth, refusing to show weakness. Qing Ru looked at her struggling companions, tears streaming down her cheeks, crystal-clear droplets hitting her clothes. She slowly turned to look at Kyan Zunji, her voice choked. "What exactly do you want?" "Sacrifice." Kyan Zunji extended his hand, pointing to Kyan Rengsu beside him, his tone flat. "Sacrifice for my daughter." Qing Ru followed his finger, her gaze falling on Kyan Rengsu. The child was looking at her with curious big eyes, her small face devoid of any malice, but behind this innocence was the price of her own life. Her expression was extremely complex, filled with pain and unwillingness. 4 spirit beasts, over 100,000 years old. Kyan Zunji's voice sounded again, with a deliberate reminder. "That's 4 100,000-year spirit bones. I can't possibly let them go." "Madam, you wouldn't want anything to happen to your daughter, or those 2 spirit beasts, would you?" His tone was calm, but his eyes were as sharp as cold blades, as if King Ru said no, he would immediately move against the other spirit beasts. Qing Ru suddenly turned her head, looking at the Sky Azure Bull Python Titan Giant Ape, and Xiao Wu who were struggling to get closer, a look of desperation flashing in her eyes. Then she looked at Kyan Zunji again, her voice hoarse. "Why should I trust you? The weak have no right to choose, only the fate of being chosen." Kyan Zunji looked directly at her, his eyes cold and devoid of any warmth. "I also disdain to deceive you. At least for the next 10 years, I will not act against them. You have no choice." His gaze was palpable, firmly locked on King Ru. Qing Ru's body trembled slightly, and her tears flowed even more fiercely. She knew that Kyan Zunji was telling the truth. In the face of absolute power, spirit beasts like them had no room for negotiation. To protect Da Ming, Ming, and Xiao Wu, she really seemed to have no other choice. Chapter 27, King Ru's Sacrifice, Awakening of the Black Dragon. A red life magnetic field suddenly appeared and expanded in all directions. Chrysanthemum Duoluo and Ghost Duoluo bore the brunt of it, easily pushed back by this force, staggering a few steps. Kian Jun and Jiang most circulated their spirit power to resist for a moment. Then, catching the signal in Kian Zunji's eyes, they tactfully retreated. Only Kian Zunji stood beside Kian Rangsu, his body motionless, golden spirit power circulating around him, isolating the expanding force. Your sacrifice must include your soul, body, flesh and blood, everything. Kian Zunji's voice was icy, killing intent evident in his eyes. Don't try any tricks. With my current cultivation, I can easily sense your remaining soul. I have the ability to extinguish your soul without harming Xiao Zhu. And furthermore, I will kill these 3 spirit beasts. I understand. King Ru's voice was as light as a sigh. A red pillar of energy suddenly shot into the sky, and her body began to become transparent, like a reflection in water. Mom, Auntie King Ru, Xiao Wu cried out in heartbreak, while Sky Azure Bull Python and Titan Giant Ape also roared, wanting to rush forward. But they were held back firmly by Kian Jun and Jiang Mo, and could only watch helplessly as the red energy pillar grew brighter and brighter. Xiao Wu, Da Ming, Ming, live well. King Ru's voice carried a final tenderness. Help me take good care of Xiao Wu. No, Auntie King Ru. Xiao Wu struggled desperately, tears blurring her eyes. I don't want you to die. Sky Azure Bull Python's snake pupils were full of pain, his massive body constantly slamming against the invisible barrier. Let's fight them to the death. Titan Giant Ape beat his chest, letting out a sorrowful roar, his pupils burning with desperate rage. The red energy pillar slowly descended, enveloping Kian Rangsu. The little one felt a warm force surging into her body, and she squinted her eyes in comfort, as if soaking in warm water, all her fatigue vanishing without a trace. Can an external spirit bone be formed? Kian Zunji asked. No, my cultivation is not enough. King Ru's ethereal body gradually became transparent. It can only form one of the 6 ordinary spirit bones. Then give Xiao Zhu a leg spirit bone, Kian Zunji said. Qing Ru's phantom nodded, moved closer to Kian Rangsu, and her body turned into specks of red light, gradually merging into her body. Kian Rangsu sat cross-legged, the powerful energy like a breached flood, continuously surging into her limbs and bones. More than 60% of the energy was absorbed by her angel spirit, and the phantom of golden light wings slowly unfolded behind her. 10% of the energy flowed into her sea of consciousness, like a stone thrown into a lake, rippling outwards, and her mental force grew at a speed visible to the naked eye. 10% of the energy was used to strengthen her body, her bones emitting subtle crack sounds. Her meridians widened and became more resilient. The remaining energy rushed straight to her Kai-Si, crazily raising her rank. Rank 31, rank 32, rank 35, rank 38. Her spirit power rank soared like a rocket, quickly rushing to the rank 40 threshold. But Kian Rangsu did not stop. Utilizing the characteristic that she could not continue to break through at rank 40 without a spirit ring, she used all the remaining energy for her 7th spirit power compression. Violent energy surged within her, being compressed and condensed bit by bit. The spirit power that was originally like a stream gradually became like a river. Every drop of spirit power contained astonishing power. Several hours later, 3 spirit rings lit up around Kian Rangsu, 2 as black as ink, 1 as crimson as blood, circulating with a heart-stopping radiance under the sunlight. The young lord is truly a heaven-sent genius. Kian Jun couldn't help but exclaim, 2 black and 1 red, this is an unprecedented feat in the spirit master's world. Jiang Mo also nodded in agreement. With such talent, her future achievements will surely far exceed those of the Supreme Pontiff. Another hour passed, and Kian Rangsu slowly opened her eyes, her spirit power completely stabilized. She stood up, hopped over to Kian Zunji, and said, Dad, look, I compressed my spirit power again. Kian Zunji ruffled her hair, his eyes full of gratification. Xiao Zhu is truly amazing. The system sound rang out. Kayan Rengsu has finished absorbing the 200,000-year spirit ring and the 200,000-year left leg bone. First critical hit onefold, second critical hit threefold, totaling threefold. Feeding back to the host, the third spirit ring is 600,000 years old. Detecting the host does not have a left leg bone, copying a soft bones rabbit left leg bone and increasing its age to 600,000 years. The power of the 600,000-year spirit ring and the 600,000-year left leg bone exploded within Kayan Zunji. Kayan Zunji retreated several zhang. Under the powerful energy impact, Kayan Zunji's body swelled slightly, golden spirit power rolling over his skin like boiling lava. The surrounding air was scorched and distorted. The rocks on the ground began to melt, emitting a pungent odor. The Supreme Pontiff is about to break through again. Chrysanthemum Duluo widened his eyes, his face full of shock. Kayan Zunji gritted his teeth, doing his utmost to suppress the rampant spirit power within his body. That force was too violent, rampaging through his body, causing waves of sharp pain in his meridians. After a few breaths, the spirit power was finally forcibly compressed by him. The fourth compression of spirit power was successful. However, before he could catch his breath, the remaining energy erupted again, actually breaking directly through the rank 98 barrier, his spirit power instantly soaring to rank 98. Meanwhile, at the bottom of the Lake of Life in the core area of the Stardew Great Forest, a sleeping black dragon slowly opened its eyes. Those eyes were as black as ink, and fierce light flashed within its pupils. Kayan Zunji, by the lake, suddenly looked up, sensing a familiar yet terrifying aura coming from the bottom of the lake, his expression changing drastically. He scooped up Kayan Rengsu and shouted to Kayan Jun and the others, "Go quickly, leave this place." The group dared not delay, immediately turning into streams of light and speeding towards the periphery of the Stardew Great Forest. Xiao Wu stood by the lake, watching their receding figures, her rabbit eyes filled with bone-deep hatred, her claws digging deep into her flesh, oozing blood. Sky Azure Bull Python and Titan Giant Ape stood side by side, their eyes grave and cold, watching the direction in which the Spirit Hall group disappeared, engraving this hatred deep in their hearts. The black dragon at the bottom of the lake stared at the water surface, the fierce light in its eyes gradually fading, and finally it slowly closed its eyes, sinking back into the darkness. The lake's surface returned to calm, as if everything that had just happened had never occurred, with only the residual spirit power fluctuations in the air. In the distance, Kayan Zunji glanced back at the direction of the Lake of Life. He thought to himself, "Those spirit beasts at the bottom of the lake are not something I can provoke right now, let alone the dragon god clone, Silver Dragon King. This is a strategic retreat, definitely not cowardice." He held Kayan Rengsu tighter, accelerated, and disappeared into the horizon. P.S. Most of King Ru's power was used to promote the evolution of the angel spirit. Only over 30% of the power acted on Kayan Rengsu herself. Currently, her mental force is at the high-level spirit Duluo level. Her physical body strength is at the spirit saint level. It is even more terrifying than the physical body of a spirit beast of the same level. Spirit power has been compressed 7 times, with each compression increasing spirit power strength by 40%, 1.4 to the power of 7. Chapter 28, The Enshrinement Hall Elder's Surprise, Tang Hao's Drunkenness. Spirit Hall. Inside the Enshrinement Hall, a golden pillar of light spilled down from the vaulted ceiling, illuminating the solemn figures standing within the hall. 6 middle-aged men in robes, a young boy with a youthful face, and a tall, straight-backed young man surrounded Kayan Rengsu in the center, their eyes filled with anticipation. "Xiaozu, show your spirit rings, let your grandfathers see." Kayan Dailiu stood at the forefront, his voice gentle, his eyes holding an unconcealable smile. Obediently, raising her small hand, Kayan Rengsu circulated the spirit power within her body. 2 pitch-black spirit rings and 1 deep crimson spirit ring, as red as blood, suddenly materialized. They slowly undulated around her body, interweaving with the faint golden aura surrounding her. Good, good, good. Kyan Daeliu uttered 3 goods in succession, the wrinkles on his face smoothing out, his eyes sparkling with excitement. To possess 100,000-year spirit ring at the 3rd ring, the inheritance of the angel godhood is promising. The 6 elders also cupped their hands one after another, their tones full of admiration. Congratulations, High Priest, congratulations, Supreme Pontiff. The young lord's talent is truly exceptional, a great fortune for the Spirit Hall. Kyan Daeliu turned to look at Kyan Zunji, his brow slightly furrowed. Jir, Zio Zhu has already reached the 40th level. Why haven't you helped her obtain her 4th spirit ring yet? Kyan Zunji stepped forward, composed. Zio Zhu is only 8 years old now. Reaching the 40th level is already a world-shaking achievement. This age is the time to solidify her foundation. We must not be greedy for speed. Steady and sure progress is the best strategy. However, he had other calculations in his mind. In truth, Kyan Rengsu's foundation was already incredibly solid. The spirit beast's sacrifice had brought all-around nourishment, even solidifying her foundation further. The real reason was that his own spirit power growth was too rapid, making backlash highly likely. He could not let Zio Zhu absorb another spirit ring in a short time, otherwise, her realm might be difficult to suppress. The compressed energy required for level 99 far exceeded that of level 98. He had to utilize the energy from each spirit ring absorption rationally to maximize the effect. Hearing this, Kyan Daeliu nodded, clearly agreeing with this reasoning. He then looked at Kyan Rengsu, his eyes filled with affection. Zio Zhu, what spirit abilities does your 3rd spirit ring grant? It has 2 spirit abilities. Kyan Rengsu lifted her little face, saying proudly. The 1st spirit ability is Angel 8-stage slash. It can unleash 8 consecutive Sword Kai slashes. The Sword Kai carries paralysis, dizziness, and stagnation effects. After the 8 slashes, the target will suffer backlash damage multiplied by the number of hits received, up to 8 times. The Soft Bones Rabbit actually has such power. The 6 elders were all shocked, their faces etched with disbelief. The Soft Bones Rabbit had always been known for its agility. They had never heard of it producing such an overbearing spirit ability. Kyan Zunji explained, Father, this was formed from the sacrifice of a 200,000-year Soft Bones Rabbit. Its spirit ability was further optimized by the angel spirit, so its effects are naturally extraordinary. Kyan Daeliu nodded slowly. Indeed, the angel spirit excels at purification and amplification, capable of fully unleashing a spirit ability's potential. Seeing everyone's praise, Kyan Rengsu spoke with even more enthusiasm. The 2nd spirit ability is Angel Wings of Void. It can grant 100% immunity to physical damage, 70% immunity to energy damage, and 50% immunity to mental attacks. It also has a built-in 10% damage reflection effect. Gold Crocodile Duluo sharply inhaled a cold breath, saying in a deep voice, This spirit ability is practically the bane of physical attack-type spirit masters. Even I would have to be wary of it. His spirit was renowned for its strength. If he encountered these Wings of Void, he feared most of his attacks would be ineffective. There's more, I also have spirit bone skills. Kyan Rengsu clapped her little hands, adding excitedly. However, Kyan Daeliu frowned, looking at Kyan Zunji. Jir, our angel clan has legacy spirit bones. Why did you let Zio Zhu absorb another spirit bone? The process of removing a spirit bone is extremely painful. Father, Kyan Zunji's tone was steady. The spirit bone left by our ancestral god merely increases the pass rate of the angel god trial. Given Zio Zhu's talent, do you think possessing the angel legacy spirit bone is still important? Moreover, this is a 200,000-year spirit bone. The power it contains is far beyond that of an ordinary legacy spirit bone. Grandfather, I haven't finished yet. Seeing the topic diverted, Kyan Renksu tugged at Kyan Daeliu's sleeve somewhat discontentedly. The sternness on Kyan Daeliu's face instantly vanished, replaced by a gentle smile as he patted her head. All right, grandfather is listening. Kyan Renksu immediately became animated again. There are two spirit bone skills too. The first is teleportation. The more spirit power I use, the farther I can teleport. Right now, I can teleport up to 50 meters. The second is Godspeed. It can instantly increase my speed by 200%, lasting for 3 breaths. Both are extremely practical skills. The smile in Kyan Daeliu's eyes deepened. Ziozu, what gift would you like? Grandfather will give it to you. Kyan Renksu tilted her head in thought, then said clearly, I want a swing made of star gemstone, one I can cultivate on. Haha, our young lord certainly knows how to pick. The 6 elders all laughed, their eyes full of doting affection. Kyan Daeliu also laughed heartily. Good. Grandfather will have it made for you right away. I guarantee you'll be satisfied. The atmosphere within the enshrinement hall grew even more harmonious, the laughter of those present echoing within the golden light. Clear Sky Sect. After Tang Zhen and the others returned and relayed the spirit hall's restrictions on the Clear Sky Sect, the faces of the elders immediately darkened with anger. The spirit hall is despicable and shameless, Tang Zhen said angrily. If my father were still here, how would they dare bully our Clear Sky Sect like this? The other elders voiced their agreement one after another, each filled with righteous indignation. Several days later, Tang Hao drank alone until he was thoroughly drunk. Since returning to the Clear Sky Sect, the attitudes of his uncles and elders towards him had clearly changed over these past few days, becoming distant. Disciples of the Clear Sky Sect were secretly discussing him. His heart was full of guilt. If not for him, how could the Clear Sky Sect have suffered such humiliation? Now, his spirit power had dropped to only the 80th level, and he didn't have a single spirit bone on him. If he didn't use Ring Explosion, he could hardly even defeat a single spirit Duoluo elder. He was unwilling. His fists were clenched so tightly his fingernails nearly dug into his flesh. At that moment, a maidservant walked over. Ah Yin, my Ah Yin. Tang Hao's eyes were bleary with drunkenness. He grabbed the passing maidservant and pulled her back into his room. That maidservant had an ordinary appearance. She offered no resistance throughout, even cooperating fully. To be favored by the young lord of the Clear Sky Sect was a blessing she wouldn't get in 8 lifetimes. How could she possibly push him away? The door closed tightly. From inside the room came wave after wave of panting. P.S. Kyan Zunji's left leg bone and Kyan Renksu's left leg bone have the same spirit bone skills. They just have a higher age limit and slightly better effects. An ordinary 100,000-year spirit beast corresponds to levels 91-92. A super spirit beast, like the Titan giant ape, corresponds to level 95. A 200,000-year spirit beast corresponds to level 96. King Ru was ordinary, with no confidence to pass the heavenly tribulation, so she took human form. A 200,000-year vicious beast, one that has passed its second heavenly tribulation, corresponds to level 97. 300,000-year corresponds to level 98. 400,000-year corresponds to level 99, the Super Duoluo realm. 500,000-year corresponds to demigod. 700,000-year corresponds to quasi-god. 800,000-year corresponds to high-level quasi-god, half-step to deacon level. Internal power is comparable to the early stage of a deacon. 900,000-year corresponds to the strongest beneath the gods. Normal combat power is similar to 800,000-year. Internal power is comparable to the middle stage of a deacon. Because spirit beasts cannot become gods, their spirit power cannot transform into divine force. So, they have a lot of internal power, but their output is lacking, though their endurance is very strong. If they disregard backlash from the plane, they can unleash deacon-level combat power for a short period. Except for that weakling Tianmeng. Chapter 29. Boundary-breaking pill breaks boundaries, angel descends. Inside the Supreme Pontiff Palace. Beneath the golden dome, Kaiyan Zunji sat in the Supreme Pontiff's seat. Beside him leaned the Supreme Pontiff's scepter, symbolizing the ultimate authority of Spirit Hall. He had almost never used this scepter, because the Supreme Pontiff's authority was inherently bestowed by the Kaiyan family. As a direct descendant of the Kaiyan family, his six-winged angel spirit itself held more authority than any scepter. As for why this scepter was crafted, it was because not every generation of Supreme Pontiffs possessed the six-winged angel spirit. Seraphim spirit masters have always married and had children late. It was possible that in some generation, a spirit master without an angel spirit would inherit the Supreme Pontiff's position, and this scepter was prepared for them. Thinking of the future Bibai Dong, one would understand why she always held the scepter wherever she went. Below, an old man with white hair stood, his face wrinkled like old tree bark. He respectfully bowed and asked, "Supreme Pontiff, what are your orders for your subordinate?" Locke, Kaiyan Zunji's gaze fell upon him. "How old are you this year? How many years have you been a white-robed bishop?" The old man bowed his head and replied, "Reporting to Supreme Pontiff, I am 113 years old this year. I served as a white-robed bishop for 30 years, and 5 years ago, I relinquished my bishop position to return to the Spirit Academy to cultivate talent for the hall." "How many years have you been at the 89th rank Spirit Duoluo stage?" Locke's eyes instantly reddened, and his voice choked. 41 years. Your subordinate has been stuck at rank 89 for a full 41 years. Spirit Hall does not lack Spirit Duoluo, nor does it lack titled Duoluo. Kaiyan Zunji's voice was calm yet powerful. "Locke, are you willing to dedicate your life and loyalty to Spirit Hall?" Locke suddenly looked up, a resolute glint in his eyes, and kowtowed heavily. "Your subordinate is willing to sacrifice everything for Supreme Pontiff and for Spirit Hall." "Good." Kaiyan Zunji waved his hand, and a pure white medicinal pill floated before Locke. "This is a boundary-breaking pill. It can help you break through to rank 90. Locke's hands trembled as he took the medicinal pill. He bowed deeply. "Thank you, Supreme Pontiff, for your grace. Your subordinate will not hesitate to die a myriad deaths." "Take it." Locke obeyed and put the medicinal pill into his mouth. The medicinal pill melted instantly upon entry, and a gentle yet vast energy instantly flowed through his limbs and bones. The spirit power barrier, which had not budged for 41 years, began to slowly melt like ice submerged in warm water. He could clearly feel his dry meridians being nourished, his aging body injected with new vitality, and his spirit power growing wildly like a parched land receiving sweet rain. After the time it takes for an incense stick to burn, a powerful aura erupted from Locke's body, and the rank 90 barrier shattered. He slowly opened his eyes, feeling refreshed. His once grizzled hair had turned half black and half white, his hunched back had straightened slightly, and the light in his cloudy eyes had reignited. He kowtowed again, his voice trembling with excitement. "Thank you, Supreme Pontiff. Your subordinate vows to repay Spirit Hall and Supreme Pontiff with my life in this lifetime." Ghost, accompany Locke to acquire his 9th spirit ring. Kaiyan Zunji looked outside the hall. "Locke, you are too old, your vital chi is declining. You can only withstand an 80,000-year spirit ring at most. Do not be greedy." Locke respectfully replied, "Your subordinate understands. To have reached this point today is already a grace from Supreme Pontiff. An 80,000-year spirit ring is enough for your subordinate to break through to rank 91. I will have no regrets in this life. Your subordinate will serve Spirit Hall wholeheartedly for the rest of my life." After Locke and Ghost Duoluo departed, Kaiyan Zunji toyed with the jade bottle in his hand. These boundary-breaking pills were obtained by Kaiyan Renksu from opening a treasure chest when she reached rank 30. There were 9 bottles in total, with 9 pills in each bottle. Their effect was simple and overbearing. They could allow spirit masters below rank 90 to unconditionally break through 1 rank with no side effects. Today was his first time using it, and the effect far exceeded his expectations. There are still 80 pills left, enough to cultivate at least 80 more titled Duoluo. Subscribe for more amazing novel audiobooks. Don't forget to like, comment, and share infinite novel audio. Kyan Zunji muttered to himself. Spirit Hall currently has nearly 200 spirit Duoluo, but only 7 of them are rank 89. A faint smile played on his lips. However, too many titled Duoluo is not a good thing. The more people there are, the more people there are to share the cake, and there are only so many resources on this continent. Unless they are absolutely trusted confidants, there's no need to use these boundary-breaking pills. Locke is quite good. He hasn't committed any transgressions for decades, and he has no descendants, so there's no need to worry about sharing the cake. Thinking of this, his heart stirred. It's time to open Zio Zoo's rank 40 treasure chest. I wonder what surprises it holds. Sister System, open the treasure chest. The treasure chest opened with a sound, and a white light suddenly illuminated the surroundings. Treasure chest opened. Reward, angel descent. The system's voice was cold and mechanical. 1 breath, 2 breaths, 3 breaths. The hall remained quiet. Besides the gradually dissipating white light, there was nothing else. Kyan Zunji frowned. Sister System, where is it? Where is the reward from this treasure chest? Reward has been issued, host. Goodbye. The system's voice completely disappeared. Kyan Zunji was stunned. Then his expression changed slightly, and his figure suddenly vanished. When he reappeared, he was already in the enshrinement hall. Father, what's wrong with the angel statue? He saw that the angel statue in the center of the enshrinement hall was emitting a soft white light. The surrounding world energy became visibly denser, and even the air carried a faint sacred aura. Kyan Dailiu gazed at the statue, his eyes filled with reverence. The statue is absorbing power of faith. The dense world energy around us is the statue's feedback. Kyan Zunji felt confused. This is angel descent. Isn't it too simple? Jir, Kyan Dailiu turned his head, his gaze solemn. Pass down the order to promote the angel god faith within Spirit Hall. I can feel that the ancestral god needs power of faith. Kyan Zunji pondered for a moment, then nodded. Yes, father. I will arrange it immediately. In just a few months. In the holy halls, main halls, and branch halls of Spirit Hall, angel statues rose one after another. The angel god faith spread like wildfire, and the reactions of the people within the halls varied. Some were confused, some knelt in devout worship, and some were full of questions. Inside the 7-treasure glazed tile school, Ning Fengjai exclaimed, Spirit Hall actually has a god's legacy. Sword Duoluo interjected, no wonder the 6-winged angel spirit is so special. Every generation produces a peerless powerhouse. In the blue lightning tyrant dragon sect, Yu Engine sighed. No wonder Spirit Hall has remained the strongest spirit master force on the continent for thousands of years. Clear Sky sect. Tang Zhen wondered, what is Spirit Hall doing, suddenly promoting the angel god? Tang Hao pressed, angel god, are there really gods? Tang Zio said in a deep voice, Father went to seek a god position legacy. He once said that the god's legacy within Spirit Hall is that of the angel god. Tang Hao clenched his fists, despair flashing in his eyes. Spirit Hall has a god, so am I completely hopeless. PS titled Duoluo have a lifespan of 300 years. For every rank breakthrough, their lifespan increases by 100 years. At rank 99, the maximum lifespan is 1200 years. Spirit Duoluo have a maximum lifespan of 150 years. Spirit Saint, 120 years. Spirit Emperor and below have the same lifespan as ordinary people. The difference is that they are less prone to illness and possess extraordinary power. If there are great medicinal pills that prolong life, lifespan can increase. High-rank spirit masters generally have hidden injuries, which will reduce their lifespan accordingly. Chapter 30. Clear Sky Sect adds a member, God King Tang Reborn. Clear Sky Sect. Deep inside, a simple thatched hut was curled up in a mountain hollow. The room was dimly lit, and the air was filled with a faint medicinal smell and the scent of decay. A woman lay on the bed, her abdomen heavily distended, her skin as withered as dehydrated bark, clinging tightly to her bones. Her eyes stared hollowly at the thatched roof, her breathing so weak it seemed as if it could stop at any moment. Her lips were chapped, her chest rose and fell almost imperceptibly, and every breath carried a heart-stopping pause. The breath of life was leaking out of this hollowed-out body bit by bit. My name is Ahua. The woman's consciousness floated in a daze. My spirit is an ordinary wildflower, with innate spirit power of level 2, and I am currently a one-ring spirit master who has just crossed the threshold. Half a year ago, Clear Sky Sect's young sect master, Tang Hao, brought me back to his residence after getting drunk. I did not resist. That was the only chance I might ever have in this life, and I had no reason to push him away. But when I woke up the next day, he was already gone. A month later, I discovered I was pregnant. I had to bite the bullet and find a sect deacon, and after being led to the sect master by an elderer and confronting Tang Hao, the matter was confirmed. After that, I was placed in this thatched hut. No one told me what would happen in the future, and I knew I couldn't get a formal status. I didn't care about that. I just wanted to give birth to this child. He is the only hope I have to defy heaven and change my fate. For the past half year, the sect has sent supplements every day, but all that nutrition was absorbed by the child in my belly. My body has gotten worse and worse, and I've almost lost the strength to even lift my hand. I don't blame him. The child is the only proof that I have lived in this world, but I think I'm really not going to make it. The door creaked open, and a woman in her 30s walked out, bowing to the two people waiting outside. Sect Master, young Sect Master, she is not going to make it. Sigh, Tang Zhen looked towards the direction of the thatched hut, his tone tinged with some regret. With mediocre talent and low spirit power, can she not hold on after all? She couldn't even manage to give birth to an heir for my Clear Sky Sect. Father, Tang Zio frowned, his tone urgent. Please think of a way. This is, after all, Brother Hao's child. Tang Zhen glanced at the woman who delivered the message and said in a deep voice, being able to leave behind a bloodline for the Clear Sky Sect makes the resources spent over the past 6 months not entirely wasted. Go in and save the mother. Yes, the woman replied and quickly walked into the thatched hut. A stick of incense time passed in a flash. The door of the thatched hut opened again, and the woman walked out with a small baby wrapped in a coarse cloth, handing it to Tang Zhen and Tang Zio. The two looked down, their brows furrowing at the same time. The child was too small as an underdeveloped kitten, estimated to weigh only a little over 2 jin. Although it was a baby boy, his limbs were as thin as reed stalks, and his little fists were only the size of 2 fingers. Especially that place. If you didn't look closely, you would think it was a baby girl. The infant had his eyes closed, his breathing as thin as a gossamer thread. Zior, you take this child down to take care of him. Tang Zhen waved his hand. Tang Zio looked back at the thatched hut, carefully took the baby, and turned to leave. After Tang Zio had gone far away, Tang Zhen walked into the thatched hut, looking at Ahua, who had already lost her breath on the bed, his eyes cold. He turned around, gripped the woman's neck, a soft crack sound, and then threw the corpse onto the ground, took out a fire starter from his bosom, and ignited the dried grass beside the bed. The flames licked the dry thatch, and soon a raging fire rose. Only dead people can keep secrets forever. Externally, just say that the maid died during premature labor. Tang Zhen stood outside the firelight, his eyes without the slightest ripple, and turned away. Tang Zio was walking quickly while holding the baby. The little guy in his arms suddenly opened his eyes, his dark, bright pupils rolling around, and finally landed on Tang Zio's face. Big Uncle, why am I in Big Uncle's arms? And this body, why is it so small? Could it be that I have been reborn? No way. My previous life was so perfect. Defeating Kayan Renksu, beating Bibai Dong, achieving the union of two gods, and the 7 monsters ascending to the god realm together. Planning for 10,000 years, it was the peak of my career. I remember I was still training my son-in-law's heart nature in the valley of questioning love and fate. How did I suddenly get reborn? This body is severely lacking in innate endowment. I'm afraid there will be a big problem when my spirit awakens in the future. He subconsciously wanted to frown, but the infant's little face crumpled into a ball, looking incredibly ugly. Fortunately, I am not empty-handed after this rebirth. There is still a trace of divine thought remaining, enough to improve my physique. It's just, when I scanned my body with my divine thought, I suddenly froze, and a wave of despair welled up in my heart. The power of the divine thought is only enough to improve my physique and ensure the normal awakening of my spirit. As for that congenitally underdeveloped place, forget it, I'll just reshape my body when I become a god in the future. I can't lose the big for the small and cut off my path to becoming a god. You child truly have spirit. Tang Zio felt the movement in his arms, looked down, and saw the infant's little face crumpling into a ball one moment and smoothing out the next, looking strange and funny, and couldn't help but be amused. If Brother Hao saw you, he would definitely be very happy. He paused and sighed. Perhaps he would be happy. Not long after, Tang Zio found Tang Hao on the back mountain of the sect. He was lying drunk on a large rock, several empty wine jars scattered around him, his clothes stained with dust, his hair messy and stuck to his face, completely devoid of his usual high spirits. Brother Hao, why are you drinking so much again? Tang Zio stepped forward, his tone tinged with some displeasure. Tang Hao slowly opened his eyes, his gaze dazed. Seeing Tang Zio, he twitched the corner of his mouth. Big brother, you're here. Brother Hao, look. Tang Zio handed the baby in his arms to him, his voice low. This is your child. She has already left. Tang Hao's gaze fell on the tiny baby. His originally turbid eyes seemed to clear for a moment, then dimmed again. He was silent, not speaking, just watching quietly, his chest rising and falling slightly. Brother Hao, he is your child after all, give him a name, Tang Zio said softly. Tang Hao raised his head, his gaze crossing the mountains and looking towards the distant west. That was the direction of Spirit Hall. After a long time, he slowly opened his mouth, his voice hoarse. Just call him Tang San. Tang San. The infant's pupils brightened suddenly. Reborn, and still this name, that's great. This life is different from the last one. Although the body is poor, I have divine thought to accompany me, far stronger than the previous life. But where is Mother Ah-Yin? Why haven't I seen her? Could it be that she was? By Spirit Hall again? Damn Spirit Hall. He roared in his heart. Wait until I become a god. I will definitely destroy you all again. You were already courting death. P.S. As a person who has already become a god after rebirth, he carries a trace of divine thought. His soul, in a certain sense, is no longer immortal. This is considered a small cheat for God King Tang. Chapter 31, Spirit Evolution, Eight-Winged Angel. Behind the enshrinement hall, Ah-Yin sat on a rattan chair, her pregnant belly prominent, one hand resting gently on her abdomen. Her gaze, soft and tender, fell upon a stone bench not far away. Kayan Renksu was engrossed in a book, her small brow occasionally furrowing, then smoothing out. To prevent his daughter from developing unrealistic sentiments, Kayan Zunji had always been strict in her education. The books he procured were mostly works meant to temper the will, such as How to Cultivate an Empress, The Ruthless Great Emperor, Dominating Eons Alone, Fairy Green Lotus, Severing the Mortal World Only for Immortal Ascension, The Cultivation Manual of an Aloof Young Miss, The Self-Cultivation of a Qualified Successor. Sometimes, dissatisfied with the books available on the market, He would rely on his powerful mental force to rapidly create his own. He would update 20,000 words daily, solely to instill the firmest convictions in his daughter. Under a tree not far from them, Kyan Zunji leaned against the trunk, resting with his eyes closed. Ghost Duluo's figure quietly emerged from the shadows. He bowed and said, "Your Holiness, the Supreme Pontiff, Tang Hao of the Clear Sky sect has had a son. He was born prematurely, after only 6 months of pregnancy. Strangely, within less than half a month, the infant's body has recovered to the level of a normal baby. And the name? Tang San." Tang San, Kyan Zunji opened his eyes, a flicker of amusement in their depths. So it really is that name. It seems some things are indeed destined. He waved his hand. "You may withdraw." Ghost Duluo acknowledged, and his figure merged back into the shadows, disappearing. So what if it's Tang San? Kyan Zunji sneered inwardly. It's also time for Little Snow to add her 4th spirit ring. "Little Snow, come here. It's time to absorb a spirit ring." Kyan Rengsu immediately closed her book and came skipping over. "Coming, Dad." Kyan Rengsu took out a god-bestowed spirit ring. Within its pale, golden halo surged a vast, powerful energy. Kyan Rengsu skillfully sat cross-legged, drew the spirit ring before her, and began the absorption. Initially, the spirit ring was a pale yellow. As energy continuously integrated, its color deepened, turning purple, then gradually transitioning towards black. An hour passed. The spirit ring had darkened to the point of being nearly black. Kyan Zunji walked to Ah Yin's side, wrapped an arm around her shoulder, and gently placed his hand on her belly. "You go and rest first. I'll keep watch over Little Snow here. Nothing will happen." Ah Yin nodded and got up to leave. A day later, Kyan Dailiu, having heard the news, also hurried over. Together with Kyan Zunji and Ah Yin, he watched Kyan Rengsu, who was still absorbing the spirit ring. That spirit ring had become black tinged with red, faintly showing signs of breaking through to 100,000 years. Almost 100,000 years. Ah Yin couldn't contain her excitement, her voice trembling slightly. "Yes, almost 100,000 years." Kyan Dailiu nodded with a smile, his eyes filled with gratification and anticipation. Suddenly, the surrounding air was dyed red by a strange force. The spirit ring completely transformed into a pure, dazzling red. The 6-winged angel spirit behind Kyan Rengsu abruptly unfurled, its radiance blazing brilliantly. Immediately after, another pair of wings grew from her shoulder blades, fanning and stirring up a sacred airflow. 8 wings, the angel spirit has evolved, Kyan Dailiu exclaimed in shock, his face etched with excitement. "Our angel clan has finally produced an 8-winged angel." The spirit ring's age continued to increase, the red growing ever more profound. Several hours later, the age finally settled at 130,000 years. System notification, Kyan Rengsu's 4th spirit ring age, 130,000 years. First critical hit, double. Second critical hit, triple. Combined 6-fold feedback. Increase host's 4th spirit ring age by 780,000 years. 6-winged angel evolves into 8-winged angel. First critical hit, single. Second critical hit, single. Combined single-fold feedback. Host spirit completes evolution, 8-winged angel. Father, step back a bit. Sensing the explosively increased energy within him, Kyan Zunji spoke in a deep voice. Kyan Dailiu immediately used his spirit power to lift Ah Yin and retreat to the side. A brilliant golden light erupted from Kyan Zunji's body as he began to fully refine that vast, surging energy. "Little Snow, what is your spirit ability?" Suppressing his excitement, Kyan Dailiu asked gently. Kyan Rengsu pouted, somewhat dissatisfied. "Why does my spirit ring, even though it's 100,000 years old, only have 1 spirit ability?" Having only 1 spirit ability means its effect is far stronger than ordinary 100,000-year spirit abilities. Kyan Dailiu patiently explained. "Quick, tell us, What ability did the God-bestowed spirit ring grant you? Yin also looked at her daughter with curiosity. This spirit ability is called Angel Holy Light. Kayan Rengsu immediately perked up. It's an area of effect support spirit ability, but it can also be used on a single target or even on myself. Its effect is to cleanse all negative influences and restore 80% of spirit power, 50% of physical stamina, mental state, and vitality. However, if the gap in spirit power is too large, the effect weakens. I can use it 3 times a day. Excellent, truly excellent. Kayan Dailiu clapped his hands in praise. This spirit ability is even stronger than that of a support system spirit duo, truly worthy of a God-bestowed spirit ring. Kayan Rengsu looked towards Kayan Zunji, who was refining energy, and tilted her little face up to ask, "Grandpa, is Daddy going to have another breakthrough?" "Yes, another breakthrough." Kayan Dailiu watched the golden flames rising around Kayan Zunji, a complex light flashing in his eyes. That divinity is truly generous. Looking at the 8-winged angel spirit slowly unfurling behind Kayan Zunji, he thought to himself, with this breakthrough, Jir will likely surpass me and become the true strongest in the spirit hall. Several days later, above Enshrinement Mountain, a several 100-foot-tall phantom of an 8-winged angel stood towering in the sky. Its wings were white gold, each feather flowing with sacred golden light. The aura radiating from its body far surpassed that of an ordinary titled duo. Its oppressive might, tangible as substance, enveloped the entire Spirit City. Within Spirit City, all spirit masters felt that supreme, oppressive might. They knelt down one after another, shouting loudly, "The angel god has descended! The angel god has descended!" Devout voices rose and fell, converging into a powerful torrent. Ever since the angel statue began absorbing power of faith several months ago, the heaven and earth energy around Enshrinement Mountain had grown increasingly dense, increasing by 80% compared to before. The cultivation speed of the enshrined ones had subsequently doubled. This energy gradually spread, causing the heaven and earth energy of the entire Spirit City to increase by 30%. The cultivation efficiency of spirit masters greatly improved. Thus, the spirit masters of Spirit Hall became even more devout in their belief in the angel, and even the housing prices in Spirit City skyrocketed. Being able to stay and cultivate for long periods in a city with such dense energy would save who knows how many resources. Kayan Zunji slowly retracted his aura. The phantom gradually dissipated, but the majesty belonging to a supreme expert was deeply imprinted in everyone's hearts. P.S. Kayan Zunji, rank 98, spirit power compressed once more. 5th spirit power compression. His spirit power intensity is slightly stronger than Kayan Dailiu's. 8-winged angel, combat power is 50% higher than an ordinary 6-winged angel of the same rank. Kayan Zunji, without his past life memories awakened, was an ordinary 6-winged angel. The strength of the 6-winged angel spirit varies. Kayan Rengsu's 6-winged angel spirit possessed attributes at their peak. After evolving into 8 wings, her combat power was only enhanced by 20%. Chapter 32, Kayan Renshin is born. Several months later, in the backyard of the Supreme Pontiff Palace, Kayan Zunji, Kayan Dailiu, Kayan Rengsu, and Jin Yu stood outside the house, their gazes occasionally sweeping towards the tightly shut door. Jin Yu was the granddaughter of the Golden Crocodile, the second priest. She was 7 years old this year. Her spirit was originally the Golden Crocodile, and she had innate level 9 spirit power. After Kayan Zunji bestowed upon her the immortal fruit, Earth Dragon Golden Fruit, her spirit evolved into the Golden Crocodile King, and she was further nourished by whale glue and various body-tempering spirit medicine. Her first spirit ring was a 1,000-year spirit ring, and her spirit power was compressed once. Now, she was a 22nd level spirit grandmaster, with 2 purple spirit rings circling her. At such a young age, she had surpassed 80% of the spirit masters on the Duoluo continent. Kyan Zunji paced back and forth in the courtyard, his brows slightly furrowed, clearly anxious. N.A.N is a level 70 spirit saint, primarily cultivating the life attribute. She'll be fine, Kyan Daeliu said, his tone steady, attempting to comfort him. Kyan Zunji stopped packing and sighed softly. I understand the logic, but it's Yin's first time after all, so I can't help but worry. Daddy, do you think it's a younger brother or a younger sister? Kyan Rengsu asked, looking up with eyes full of anticipation. It's a younger brother. How does Daddy know? I probed with my mental force. It's a boy, Kyan Zunji said with a smile. Upon hearing this, a hint of annoyance flashed across Kyan Rengsu's small face, but then it smoothed out again. Then won't the gift I prepared be useless? No, wait, a younger brother can wear it too. Kyan Daeliu asked curiously, Zuer, what gift did you prepare for your younger brother? Kyan Rengsu took out a small dress embroidered with silver thread from her spirit tool and held it up like a treasure. Look, I specially chose this. Zuer, your younger brother is a boy. He can't wear a dress, Kyan Daeliu patiently explained. Kyan Rengsu tilted her head, looking puzzled. Boys can wear them too, right? Don't all young children wear open-crotch pants? Wearing a dress is much more convenient. Kyan Zunji and Kyan Daeliu exchanged glances, not knowing whether to laugh or cry, and were at a loss for how to refute her. Inside the room, Yin lay on the bed, her forehead covered in fine sweat, her face flushed from exertion. The midwife encouraged her. Madam, push a little harder, the baby is almost out. Yin gritted her teeth, her hands clutching the bedsheet tightly, her breathing ragged. After the time it takes to steep a cup of tea, the door creaked open. The midwife walked out, holding a swaddled infant, her face beaming with joy. High Priest, Supreme Pontiff, it's a young master. Kyan Zunji immediately stepped forward to take the baby. The little one had its eyes closed, its small face wrinkled, and its breathing was even. He carefully probed with his mental force, confirming that the child's soul was pure and without abnormality. The heavy stone in his heart finally dropped. He certainly didn't want the fate of the Tang clan members. Kyan Daeliu also leaned in to look, letting out a sigh of relief. Thankfully, there's nothing strange. Although there are other forces within his body, they are primarily human, so it's not a big problem. Congratulations, host, for having a new offspring. You are specially rewarded with a baby gift package. The system's voice rang out. The gift package opened, revealing one set of Ghost Frightener Tang Sen Tang sect cultivation technique. One set of Ghost Frightener Tang San's obsession and creed towards the Tang sect, optimized by the system, replaced with obsession and creed towards angels, original memories not retained, can be used on people. Kyan Zunji looked at the infant in his arms, a strange smile playing on his lips. Is Sister System trying to stir up trouble? Is she trying to make him raise an angel version of Tang San? He carefully examined the system reward. There was nothing wrong with the cultivation technique. As for the obsession and creed, it was just replacing Tang sect with angel. Tang San's dedication to the Tang sect and his filial piety towards his parents were indeed worth learning from. If his son could inherit these, his personality shouldn't pose major problems. At least, he might be easier to educate than Zuer. Having thought it through, he immediately used the system reward on the infant in his arms. Jir, give the child a name, Kyan Daeliu said. Let's call him Kyan Renshin, Kyan Zunji said, looking at the distant mountains. Ren means high and Shan means stable. May he be as steady and resilient as a high mountain, carrying the glory of my angel clan. Kyan Daeliu nodded in approval. A good name. Daddy, let me hold him. I want to hold my younger brother. Kyan Rengsu bounced over, her eyes full of yearning. Zuer, be careful. Your younger brother is still very fragile, Kyan Zunji cautioned. I know. Kyan Rengsu carefully took the swaddled baby, her movements clumsy but gentle. Jin Yu leaned closer, looking at the infant in the swaddle, and whispered, Sister Zhu, younger brother's face is so wrinkled, he's so ugly. Kayan Rengsu immediately glared at her. Zio, you were about the same when you were little. No way, I'm so cute, how could I have been like that? Jinyu looked disbelieving. Really, all Bobbies are like this when they're just born. They'll look better in a few days, Kayan Rengsu said earnestly. Jinyu tilted her head and asked, Then were you like that when you were just born, Sister Zhu? How could I be? Kayan Rengsu lifted her chin. When I was born, I was much cuter than my younger brother. Kayan Zunji smiled and turned to enter the room. Yin was leaning against the headboard, her face still somewhat pale. He walked over and took her hand. You've worked hard. Yin shook her head and softly asked, Where's the child? Zuer is watching him, he's fine. Is it a boy or a girl? It's a boy, named Kayan Renshin. The two chatted softly for a long time before Kayan Zunji said, You rest first. I'll take Zio Shan to find a wet nurse. Yin glanced at him and chided, My body isn't that weak. Bring Zio Shan in, I'll feed him. How can that be? Kayan Zunji quickly waved his hand. You need to rest properly now. Besides, the energy in your body is too rich. The child is too young to absorb it, and it could cause problems. Yin was skeptical. Is that so? She had never been a mother and was indeed unsure about this. Of course, you can't go wrong listening to me, Kayan Zunji soothed. You rest well, I'll go out and make arrangements. We can't let the child go hungry. He walked out of the room, thinking to himself, Zio Shan, your mother is the blue-silver emperor. Her life force is too strong. Your father is afraid you won't be able to handle it, so it's better to find you 3 wet nurses for balanced nutrition. As for Yin, if her life energy is too abundant and not released, it can accumulate. He'll have to find a way to help her drainage, guide its flow later. Thinking of this, Kayan Zunji felt the burden on his shoulders grow heavier. Outside the house, Kayan Rengsu and Jinyu were together, putting that little dress on Kayan Renshin. Kayan Zunji walked over, looking at his son, who was wrapped up like a little pink ball, and his lips twitched. Daddy, look, isn't younger brother more handsome now? Kayan Rengsu held up the swaddled baby, her face full of pride. Kayan Zunji looked at his daughter's bright eyes and couldn't bear to dampen her spirits, so he just smiled. Zuer has really good taste. Younger brother wearing this is quite unique. P.S. Kayan Rengsu's second spirit ability, Holy Light, a supportive spirit ability, can be used on multiple targets, including herself, supporting a maximum of 5 people. Effect, spirit power, mental force, physical body strength. Collective increase of 100%. The effect is weakened for those whose cultivation far exceeds her own. Chapter 33. Toddling Steps, Rebellious Disciple Taught a Lesson. In the courtyard, a little boy wearing a red floral dress was wobbling as he learned to walk. His chubby little feet stepped onto the bluestone slabs, each step unsteady and stumbling, yet he stubbornly refused to stop. Yin, Kayan Zunji, and Kayan Rengsu stood in the distance, watching him. That tiny figure stumbled along, moving with a clear goal toward Yin, his little arms flailing in the air as if searching for balance. Zio Zhu, what's wrong? Kayan Zunji noticed the dejection between his daughter's brows and asked softly, You don't seem very happy today. It's nothing. Kayan Rengsu pressed her lips together and looked up at her father. Dad, I'm almost level 49 now. What kind of spirit ring have you prepared for me? The same as before, a God-bestowed spirit ring. Kayan Zunji looked at her, his tone becoming a bit more serious. Zio Zhu, a God-bestowed spirit ring is extremely precious. You cannot stop your medicinal baths. I heard from the maid that you don't want to soak in them lately. Kayan Rengsu's eyes flickered, and she quickly said, I'll go back and take the medicinal bath right now. Dad, I'm leaving first. Before she finished speaking, she had already turned and run away. Kayan Zunji watched his daughter's retreating figure. At 9.5 years old, Kayan Rengsu had absorbed 4 spirit rings beyond her age limit and had been nourished with rare resources for years. Her height had already reached 1.65 meters, and her figure was gradually revealing the silhouette of a young girl. Her shoulders and back were slender, her legs long, and the timid little thing from back then was long gone. "Mommy, hug." Kyan Renshin finally wobbled over to Ah-Yin and reached out his little hands. Ah-Yin smiled and picked him up, saying to Kyan Zunji, "Brother Kyan, look, Zio-shan is only 8 months old, and he doesn't even fall when he walks now." Kyan Zunji stepped forward and lightly touched his son's soft cheek with his fingertip. "He takes after you. His vitality is strong, and his foundation is solid." Night-shrouded Spirit Hall. Inside the Saintess Hall, Bibai Dong was hunched over her desk processing files when a sudden disturbance came from behind her. Just as she was about to turn around, her consciousness suddenly blurred, and she lost all sensation. When she woke up again, a familiar cold sensation greeted her. She was tied to a cross, surrounded by the familiar secret room. "Kyan Zunji, you bastard, get out here," Bibai Dong roared in anger, her voice hoarse from agitation. "Donger, you really are incorrigible." Kyan Zunji's figure emerged from the shadows, holding a whip that shimmered with golden light in his hand. "Kyan Zunji, just kill me, you animal," Bibai Dong cursed, her eyes dripping with venom. Snap! The whip fell, and Bibai Dong's robes instantly split open, a bright red mark appearing on her skin. She screamed in pain, her body struggling violently. "Bastard, animal, shameless," she continued to curse furiously. Snap, snap, snap. 3 more lashes followed, and Bibai Dong's screams grew more shrill, cold sweat seeping from her forehead. "Donger, Zio Zhu was very unhappy today." Kyan Zunji stopped his movements, staring at her with sharp eyes. "Besides you, no one could make her like that. Tell me, what did you do today?" "That piece of trash. She is the shame of my life." Bibai Dong looked as if she had gone mad, her eyes filled with resentment and poison. "Kyan Zunji, don't let me catch an opportunity, or I will definitely kill you, kill that filthy bloodline, and destroy the Angel clan. You are all a bunch of disgusting scum." Snap, snap, snap! 9 consecutive lashes fell. Bibai Dong's voice grew quieter and quieter, leaving only suppressed groans of pain, her body trembling from the intense agony. "Ah, no, Kyan Zunji, I was wrong. Don't hit me anymore." She finally couldn't help but beg for mercy, but the only response was the heartless shadows of the whip. "Teacher, no, I really was wrong." Bibai Dong's robes were almost shredded, her entire body covered in mark after mark of red, yet not a single drop of blood flowed out. This was a unique skill Kyan Zunji had practiced on her, named the Angel's Whip. The fire attribute burned the physical body, the holy attribute burned the soul, and the light attribute repaired the physical body. Now that his spirit had evolved into an 8-winged angel, it possessed the life attribute, making the recovery ability even stronger. Bibai Dong would only feel extreme pain, the dual suffering of the physical body and the soul, but she would not actually sustain serious injuries. "Where were you wrong?" Kyan Zunji stopped and asked coldly. "I shouldn't have ignored Zio Zhu, shouldn't have betrayed the Spirit Hall, shouldn't have leaked the secrets of the Spirit Hall." Bibai Dong gasped, her voice intermittent. It seems you are quite clear on that." "Teacher, I was wrong. I really know I was wrong. Please let me go." Bibai Dong pleaded bitterly, her hands tied to the cross, her legs trembling from pain. At some point, her pants had become soaked. She told herself in her heart that this was not fear, not that she couldn't hold it. It was just that her body couldn't hold up, and she couldn't control it. "Seeing that you have a heart of repentance, I will forgive you this time." Kyan Zunji put away the whip. "If there is a next time, the punishment will be doubled." "Yes, thank you, teacher." Bibai Dong's voice was weak, barely audible. Kyan Zunji stepped forward. "Your clothes are all torn. I will change you into a clean set." "No, don't come over, don't come over." Bibai Dong screamed in terror, her body struggling violently. Several hours later. Inside the secret room, Bibai Dong had changed into new clothes, but she lay limp on the floor, where there were quite a few water stains. She clenched her fists tightly, her nails digging deep into her palms, a bone-deep hatred flashing in her eyes. Kayan Zunji, just you wait. I will repay this humiliation tenfold. She tried hard to stand up, but her body went limp, and she fell back down. Her face was flushed, her whole body weak, her legs soft, and her gaze somewhat hazy. When Kayan Zunji walked out of the secret room, the sun had already risen high. Last night was a physically and mentally pleasant night. He had both disciplined the rebellious disciple Bibai Dong and ensured she remembered the lesson. The long whip brought pain, while the short whip brought pleasure. Giving her some breathing room and balancing kindness with severity was the best strategy. As for Bibai Dong's resentment and murderous intent, Kayan Zunji did not care in the least. Without the full cultivation of the spirit hall, without the 100,000-year spirit rings and spirit bones, and without the legacy of the Rakshasa godhood, relying solely on Bibai Dong herself, even if given 50 years, it would be hard to say if she could reach a level 97 titled Duoluo. Her first spirit already had 8 rings, and her second spirit had 6, meaning she could only add 4 more spirit rings at most. Without the blessing of 100,000-year spirit rings, 4 spirit rings of around 80,000 years would at most push her cultivation to level 93, posing no threat at all. Among those who could become a titled Duoluo, which one was not a genius? In the enshrinement hall, whose innate spirit power was lower than level 9.5. Bibai Dong simply hadn't experienced the true beatings of society, which was why she was so ignorant of the immensity of heaven and earth. Enough thinking about these things. Kayan Zunji straightened his robes. It was time to go see Xiao Zhu. Her education still needed to be strengthened. What book should he bring her today? How to deal with traitors, how steel is tempered, or the young Mrs. group of simps, he pondered as he walked. And Xiao Shan, when he is 3 years old, he would teach him the mysterious heaven skill to build a solid foundation. His own son could not fall behind others. Chapter 34, Kayan Zunji recounts the past. Grandmaster rejects a disciple. Half a month later, a luxuriously decorated carriage quietly stopped in front of the gate of N.A.N Academy. Though the sound of the wheels rolling over the bluestone slabs was light, it made the passing teachers and students instinctively stop and look at the carriage with awe. That carriage was definitely not something an ordinary person could own. Kayan Zunji, Kayan Rangsu, and Bibai Dong stepped out of the carriage one after another. Father, is this where that person is? Kayan Rangsu sized up the somewhat crude academy before her, her tone carrying a hint of disdain. This place isn't all that great. It's far worse than Spirit City. Yes, he teaches here. Kayan Zunji's eyes were full of contempt. Bibai Dong's body trembled slightly, but her eyes flickered with an excited light. She thought to herself, Xiaogeng, I can finally see you. Chrysanthemum Duoluo stepped forward and showed a high-level deacon's token engraved with the Spirit Hall insignia to the doorman. I am from Spirit Hall and wish to tour your academy. He didn't take out an elder's token, fearing this minor character had never seen one, which would instead cause embarrassment. Seeing this, the doorman immediately bowed and scraped, a fawning smile plastered on his face. Please come in, my lords, please come in. He could see clearly that even the one driving the carriage was such a dignified spirit master. The 3 inside the carriage must be noble figures of great status. Not to mention the dean, even if the city lord himself came, he would have to respectfully invite them in. He felt he was sharing the academy's burdens. As Kayan Zunji and the others walked past, he took an extra look at the doorman and said flatly, You are quite good. Saying so, he flicked his finger, and a trace of pure spirit power entered the doorman's body. The doorman felt as if an invisible barrier within his body shattered, and his spirit power instantly soared from a rank 6 spirit scholar to rank 7. He was 26 years old this year, and his innate spirit power was only half a rank. He had struggled for 20 years to increase it by 5.5 ranks, yet this lord's casual flick had actually caused him to break through. In the future, He might even have hope of becoming a spirit master. He was so excited that he fell to his knees with a thud, kowtowing repeatedly. "Thank you for your grace, my lord. Thank you for your grace." Ghost Duluo led the carriage and followed them inside unhurriedly. Afterward, Chrysanthemum Duluo found the dean of N.A.N Academy. Upon seeing the deacon's token, the dean dared not be negligent and immediately led them to a quiet small courtyard. Inside the courtyard, Kyan Zunji instructed Ghost Duluo, "Go and capture that trash Yu Zioageng. Remember, don't let him see your face. Knock him out and bring him here." "Yes," Ghost Duluo replied, his figure instantly merging into the shadows and vanishing. "Kyan Zunji, what on earth are you planning to do?" Bibai Dong could no longer restrain herself and asked sharply. "Donger, I only said I would take you to see Yu Zioageng, but I never said I'd let you have a pleasant meeting." Kyan Zunji's tone was flat. "Don't worry, I won't kill him as long as you follow the rules." At this moment, Yu Zioageng was packing through the campus in high spirits. A cultivation of rank 29 Spirit Grandmaster might be negligible elsewhere, but in Niuding City, it already surpassed 95% of Spirit Masters. The Academy's dean was merely a low-level spirit ancestor. This achievement was his greatest pride, and he walked with his head held high and a sense of self-satisfaction. Suddenly, a chill struck from behind. Yu Zioageng only felt his vision go dark, and before his body could hit the ground, he was caught by a cold hand, and his entire person instantly vanished from the spot. "Did you see Grand Moist Yu?" A boy around 10 years old rubbed his eyes and asked his companion in confusion. "No, why? He was clearly right here just now." "You must have seen wrong. Stop reading those novels with illustrations. You're having hallucinations," the other boy teased. "I am not." The boy's face flushed red, but he couldn't provide any more evidence. The layout of the small courtyard was simple: one main hall and 3 bedrooms. Bibai Dong, Chrysanthemum Duluo, Ghost Duluo, and Kyan Renksu were all in the hall now, their gazes collectively fixed on one of the bedrooms. Yu Zioageng was tied to a rack, unconscious. Kyan Zunji wore a silver mask and stood alone inside the bedroom. Seeing this, Bibai Dong rushed toward the bedroom like crazy, but was blocked by an invisible energy shield. No matter how she collided with it, she couldn't budge it in the slightest. The energy shield isolated her movements, and Kyan Zunji had even sealed her voice. No matter how she roared, she couldn't make a sound. She could only watch the scene inside the bedroom helplessly, her eyes bloodshot with anxiety. Kyan Zunji picked up a basin full of cold water and splashed it violently onto Yu Zioageng. "Ugh." Yu Zioageng shuddered and snapped his eyes open. His hair was wet and plastered to his face, his clothes were soaked, and water droplets continuously dripped down his cheeks and chin. He looked incredibly pathetic. Realizing he was tied to a rack, he immediately panicked and struggled while shouting, "Who are you? What do you want? Do you know who I am?" "Who I am is not important." Kyan Zunji's voice came through the mask, carrying a hint of raspy coldness. "I am very interested in you. Answer my questions properly and don't lie, otherwise, the consequences will be very severe." "Let me go, I don't know you," Yu Zioageng roared with bravado. "Let me go now and I can act like nothing happened, otherwise." Crack! With a crisp sound, a whip appeared in Kyan Zunji's hand at some point, and he lashed it fiercely against Yu Zioageng's body. "Ah!" Yu Zioageng let out a shrill scream. Cold sweat instantly mixed with the cold water, rolling down from his forehead and sliding down his neck into his collar, bringing a bone-chilling coldness. A tear was ripped into his clothes, and a red, swollen whip mark clearly emerged. A burning pain spread through his skin across his entire body, even to his soul. In the hall, Bibai Dong watched this scene, and tears instantly burst from her eyes, sliding down her cheeks. She clenched her fists tightly, her nails digging deep into her palms. Only one thought remained in her mind: "Kyan Zunji, I will kill you. How dare you treat my Zioageng like this?" Seeing this, both Chrysanthemum Duoluo and Ghost Duoluo felt it was somewhat embarrassing. They tacitly turned their heads away, focusing on their own thoughts, acting as if they had seen nothing. Kyan Renksu looked at the seemingly crazed Bibai Dong, and then at the hysterical man in the bedroom, her heart filled with mixed emotions. She suddenly remembered those books her father forced her to read every day, and only now did she vaguely understand. It turned out her father was afraid she would become like this in the future, losing her soul and even disregarding everything for someone unworthy. So embarrassing. Kyan Renksu secretly clenched her fists and said to herself, I will definitely not be like this in the future. I will never let father down. Inside the bedroom, Yu Xiaogang's screams continued. Yet Kyan Zunji seemed not to hear them. As the whip in his hand rose and fell, it carried an almost cold rhythm. In the hall, Bibai Dong's tears flowed even more fiercely, her body trembling slightly from despair. She knew that no matter how she struggled, she couldn't change anything before her. This sense of powerlessness was even more heart-wrenching than when she was locked in that secret room back then. Chapter 35, N.A.N Academy, Grandmaster Yu Xiaogang. Half a month later, a luxuriously decorated carriage quietly pulled up in front of the gate of N.A.N Academy. Though the sound of the wheels rolling over the bluestone slabs was light, it caused the passing teachers and students to subconsciously stop and look at the carriage with awe. That carriage was certainly not something an ordinary person could own. Kyan Zunji, Kyan Renksu, and Bibai Dong stepped out of the carriage one after another. Papa, is this where that person is? Kyan Renksu sized up the somewhat dilapidated academy before her, her tone carrying a hint of disdain. This place isn't much. It's far worse than Spirit City. Yes, he teaches here. Kyan Zunji's eyes were full of contempt. Bibai Dong's body trembled slightly, but her eyes flickered with an excited light as she thought to herself, Xiaogang, I can finally see you. Chrysanthemum Duoluo stepped forward and showed a high-level deacon token engraved with the Spirit Hall emblem to the doorman. I am from Spirit Hall and wish to tour your academy. He did not take out the elder's token, fearing this minor character had never seen one before, which would only cause an awkward situation. Seeing this, the doorman immediately bowed and scraped, his face plastered with a fawning smile. Please come in, my lords. Please come in. He could see clearly that even the one driving the carriage was such a high-spirited spirit master. The three inside the carriage must be noble figures of great status. Forget the dean, even if the city lord himself came, he would have to respectfully invite them in. He felt he was sharing the academy's burdens by doing this. As Kyan Zunji and the others walked past, he spared a glance at the doorman and said flatly, You are quite good. As he spoke, he flicked his finger, and a strand of pure spirit power entered the doorman's body. The doorman felt as if an invisible barrier within him had shattered, and his spirit power instantly surged from rank 6 spirit scholar to rank 7. He was 26 years old this year, and his innate spirit power was only half a rank. He had struggled for 20 years to raise it by 5.5 ranks, yet this lord's casual gesture had actually caused him to achieve a breakthrough. In the future, he might even have hope of becoming a spirit master. He was so excited that he fell to his knees with a thud, kowtowing repeatedly. Thank you for the gift, my lord. Thank you for the gift. Ghost Duoluo led the carriage and followed them in unhurriedly. Afterward, Chrysanthemum Duoluo found the dean of N.A.N Academy. After showing the deacon token, the dean did not dare to be negligent and immediately led them to a quiet small villa. Inside the courtyard, Kyan Zunji instructed Ghost Duoluo, Go and capture that trash Yu Xiaogang. Remember, don't let him see your face. Knock him out and bring him here. Yes, Ghost Duoluo responded, his figure instantly merging into the shadows and vanishing. Kyan Zunji, what exactly are you trying to do? Bibai Dong could no longer restrain herself and asked sharply. Donger, I only said I would take you to see Yu Xiaogang. I didn't say I'd let you have a pleasant meeting, Kyan Zunji said in a flat tone. Rest assured, I won't kill him as long as you follow the rules. At this moment, Yu Xiaogang was packing through the campus in high spirits. A cultivation of rank 29 Spirit Grandmaster might not be worth mentioning elsewhere, but in Niuding City, it already surpassed 95% of Spirit Masters. The Academy Dean was only a low-level Spirit Ancestor. This achievement was his greatest pride, and he walked with his head held high in self-satisfaction. Suddenly, a chill swept from behind him. Yu Xiaogang felt his vision go dark, and before his body could hit the ground, he was caught by a cold hand, and his entire person vanished from the spot. Did you see Grandmaster Yu? A boy about 10 years old asked his companion in confusion while rubbing his eyes. No, why? He was clearly just here. You must have seen wrong. Stop reading those novels with pictures, you're having hallucinations, the other boy teased. I am not. The boy's face turned red, but he couldn't provide any more evidence. The layout of the small villa was simple: one main hall and 3 bedrooms. Bibai Dong, Chrysanthemum Duoluo, Ghost Duoluo, and Kaiyan Renksu were currently in the hall. Their gazes, all fixed on one of the bedrooms. Yu Xiaogang was tied to a rack, unconscious. Kaiyan Zunji wore a silver mask and stood alone inside the bedroom. Seeing this, Bibai Dong rushed toward the bedroom like crazy, but was blocked by an invisible energy shield. No matter how she collided with it, she couldn't budge it in the slightest. The energy shield isolated her movements, and Kaiyan Zunji had even sealed her voice. No matter how she screamed, she couldn't make a sound. She could only watch the scene inside the bedroom with bloodshot eyes, consumed by anxiety. Kaiyan Zunji picked up a basin full of cold water and suddenly splashed it onto Yu Xiaogang. Ugh. Yu Xiaogang's whole body jolted as he snapped his eyes open. His wet hair was plastered to his face, his clothes were soaked, and water droplets continuously fell from his cheeks and chin, making him look utterly pathetic. Realizing he was tied to a rack, he immediately panicked and struggled while shouting, "Who are you? What are you doing? Do you know who I am?" Who I am is not important. Kaiyan Zunji's voice came through the mask, carrying a hint of raspy coldness. I am very interested in you. Answer my questions properly and do not lie, otherwise, the consequences will be very serious. Let me go, I don't know you, Yu Xiaogang roared with hollow bluster. Let me go now, and I can act as if nothing happened otherwise. Snap, a crisp sound rang out. A whip had appeared in Kaiyan Zunji's hand at some point, and he lashed it fiercely against Yu Xiaogang's body. Ah! Yu Xiaogang let out a shrill scream. Cold sweat instantly mixed with the cold water, rolling down from his forehead, sliding down his neck and into his collar, bringing a bone-chilling cold. A hole was torn in his clothes, and a red, swollen whip mark clearly emerged. A burning pain spread from his skin across his entire body and even to his soul. In the hall, Bibai Dong's tears burst forth at the sight, sliding down her cheeks. She clenched her fists tightly, her nails digging deep into her palms. Only one thought remained in her mind: Kaiyan Zunji, I will kill you. How dare you treat my Xiaogang like this? Seeing this, Chrysanthemum Duoluo and Ghost Duoluo both felt it was somewhat embarrassing. They tactfully turned their heads away, focusing on their own thoughts as if they hadn't seen anything. Kaiyan Renksu looked at the seemingly crazed Bibai Dong, then at the hysterical man in the bedroom, her heart filled with a mix of emotions. She suddenly remembered the books her father forced her to read every day, and at this moment, she vaguely understood. It turned out her father was afraid she would become like this in the future, losing her soul and even disregarding everything for an unworthy person. How embarrassing. Kaiyan Renksu secretly clenched her fists and said to herself, I will definitely not be like this in the future. I will never let Papa down. In the bedroom, Yu Xiaogang's screams continued. Kaiyan Zunji seemed not to hear them, the rising and falling of the whip in his hand carrying a nearly heartless rhythm. In the hall, Bibai Dong's tears flowed even more fiercely, her body trembling slightly from despair. She knew that no matter how she struggled, she couldn't change anything before her. This sense of powerlessness was even more heart-wrenching than when she was locked in the secret room back then. Chapter 36. Grandmaster used 10 great theories. You Zyoging, I ask, you answer. If you lie, you get a lash, understand? Kyan Zunji's voice came through the mask, as cold as if it had been quenched in ice. Yu Zyoging shrank his neck. The whip marks on his body were still burning with pain, and his voice trembled. Ask away, just don't hit me anymore. He was facing away from the living room, completely unaware that several pairs of eyes were watching from the hall, and even less aware that one of those pairs belonged to the person who still thought of him constantly. Why were you kicked out of the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon sect? I didn't. I wasn't kicked out of the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon sect. Yu Zyoging retorted without thinking. Snap! The whip fell in response, striking his already soaked clothes, bringing a tearing pain. Ah! Yu Zyoging cried out in pain, cold sweat streaming down his forehead. Lie again, and it will be 2 lashes. Kyan Zunji's tone was without the slightest ripple, as if he were merely stating a fact. Yu Zyoging gritted his teeth, a flash of resentment crossing his face, and finally changed his tune. I was kicked out of the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon sect because of Bibai Dong from Spirit Hall. If it weren't for that woman, how would I have ended up in this state? When he said this, his eyes were full of undisguised hatred. In the hall, Bibai Dong felt as if she had been struck by lightning. She froze in place, the tears in her eyes instantly solidifying. She had never imagined that in his heart, she was the culprit who had caused him to be driven out of the sect. You didn't lie this time, Kyan Zunji said indifferently. Next question, the 10 great spirit theories you published, did you research them alone? Yes, of course it was me alone. Yu Zyoging immediately straightened up, forgetting the pain on his body, his tone filled with pride. I researched for over 10 years, examined the data of tens of thousands of spirit masters, summarized all their characteristics, and finally concluded these 10 great spirit theories. Oh, so you're saying you are very talented. That goes without saying. I am the Grandmaster of Spirit Theory. Yu Zyoging's face was full of conceit, as if no one in this world could compare to him. Then, where did your data come from? I collected it myself. I traveled to every corner of the Duluo continent and collected a massive amount of data. Hearing this, the corners of Bibai Dong's mouth in the hall curled up into a smile involuntarily, feeling proud of his achievements. Snap! Another whip fell, heavier than before. I want to hear the truth. Kyan Zunji's voice suddenly turned stern. Lie again, and the punishment will double. Grandmaster Yu, you had better think clearly. Ah! Yu Zyoging twitched all over from the pain, no longer daring to hide anything. He hurriedly shouted, I'll talk, I'll talk. My data was seen at the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon sect, but the data there wasn't enough. So I went to Spirit Hall. It is the most powerful and oldest spirit master force on the Duluo continent. Relying on my status as the young sect master of the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon sect, I became a small deacon there and went to the library to read spirit data every day. He became more and more engrossed as he spoke, seemingly completely forgetting that he was in danger. Spirit Hall is worthy of being the holy land of the spirit master's world. Even the most basic first floor of the library has far more data than the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon sect. Those basic materials were crucial to my theories. A year later, I had basically finished reading the books on the first floor and wanted to go to the second floor, but as a small deacon, I didn't have the permission. Fortunately, I met the Holy Maiden of Spirit Hall, Bibai Dong. She admired my talent and took me to the second floor, the third floor, and I even went to the highest 5th floor. In the entire Duluo continent, no one has read more books than I have. I am the true Grandmaster of Spirit Theory. His face was flushed with excitement, immersed in the glory he had woven for himself. Kyan Rengsu stood in the hall, watching the near-obsessive expression on Bibai Dong's face, feeling a sense of awkwardness in her heart. She really didn't understand what was worth admiring about a person who could only access data by relying on others. Chrysanthemum Duoluo and Ghost Duoluo exchanged glances, both seeing disdain in each other's eyes. Someone of this caliber is worthy of the holy maiden's such concern. Same question again. Were your theories really summarized by yourself? Kyan Zunji's voice sounded again, carrying a hint of danger. Think clearly before you answer, otherwise, I'm afraid you will die under the whip. Yu Xiaogeng shivered, his voice trembling. My spirit theories were summarized from numerous sources of data, and I also modified and optimized many details. Kyan Zunji ignored his defense and asked directly. The first spirit ring can absorb a century-level spirit ring with a limit of under 423 years. The second spirit ring can absorb a century-level spirit ring with a limit of under 764 years. The third spirit ring can absorb a millennium-level spirit ring with a limit of under 1760 years. The fourth spirit ring can absorb a millennium-level spirit ring with a limit of under 5,000 years. The fifth spirit ring can absorb a 10,000-year level spirit ring with a limit of under 12,000 years. The sixth spirit ring can absorb a spirit ring under 20,000 years. The seventh spirit ring limit is under 50,000 years. The eighth spirit ring can absorb a spirit ring of about 70,000 years. The ninth spirit ring can absorb a 100,000-year spirit ring. He enunciated every word, reporting the limits that were precise to the single digit, then asked, How did you summarize such precise data? The sense of scrutiny in his tone was almost palpable. Yu Xiaogeng was instantly silent, the pride on his face freezing. When he saw Kyan Zunji's hand holding the whip move slightly, he was so frightened that his soul flew away and his spirit scattered, and he hurriedly shouted, It's Spirit Hall's data. Spirit Hall has more than a dozen documents recording the best spirit ring limits. The best limits on them didn't differ much, and people had successfully absorbed them. The strange thing is, the documents only wrote down successful cases and didn't say specifically who absorbed them. So I summarized those dozen or so documents, took the median value, and derived these best limits. After saying this, he seemed to have all his strength drained away, collapsing on the rack. Bibai Dong in the hall was stunned, her heart full of doubts. Is this how the best spirit ring limits came about? Does Spirit Hall have detailed records? Why don't I know about them? Did the rest of the theories come about this way too? Kyan Zunji pressed, the whip in his hand striking the ground with a snap, making a crisp sound. Yu Xiaogeng was trembling with fear, nodding repeatedly. Yes, half of them came about this way. These theories are already very mature, I didn't need to change them. Instead of letting them gather dust in Spirit Hall, it's better for me to bring them out to benefit the continent. You really are remarkable, Grandmaster Yu. Kyan Zunji's tone was full of mockery. He paused, then changed the subject. I've long heard that the love story between you and the Holy Maiden of Spirit Hall has spread far and wide. I'm very curious. Can you tell me the origin of this story? Hearing this, a complex emotion flashed in Yu Xiaogeng's eyes. There was pride, nostalgia, and a trace of barely perceptible calculation. He licked his dry lips, seemingly organizing his words, preparing to whitewash that fine story once again. Chapter 37, Yu Xiaogeng's Love, Bibai Dong's Obsession Shatters. That year, I was reading in the Spirit Hall library when Bibai Dong came. She saw me in the crowd, seriously pursuing scholarship, and thought I was unique. Later, after many interactions, I came to regard her as a very good friend. Knowing my spirit had mutated and that I could never break through past level 30 in my life, she used her privileges to take me to the second and third floors of the library, and finally to the fifth floor, allowing me to see the Spirit Hall's collection of precious classics. By then, I had accumulated enough knowledge to become a well-deserved theoretical grandmaster. Afterward, we fell in love and promised to stay together for life. But on the very day we were preparing to leave Spirit Hall, she betrayed me, betrayed our feelings. She looked down on me, just like everyone else. Yu Xiaoging said, his expression shifting from nostalgia to resentment, as if he had suffered a monumental grievance. In the hall, Bibai Dong's tears fell continuously, as she shook her head desperately. She screamed in her heart, "Xiaoging, it's not like that. All of this was forced upon me by that beast Cayenne Zunji, all because of him. None of it was my intention." Clap, clap, clap. Cayenne Zunji began to applaud, his gaze sweeping over the tearful Bibai Dong nearby. He only felt a wave of revulsion, his skin crawling. Splendid, truly splendid. What a touching story, I'm almost moved to tears. Cayenne Rengsu unconsciously took a step to the side, distancing herself from Bibai Dong. She felt her face burning with shame. It was too embarrassing. Fortunately, everyone here was one of their own. Otherwise, she would truly have no face to see anyone. Crack, crack, crack. 3 whips landed on Yu Xiaoging in succession. The whip shadows carried golden flames and a holy aura as they struck him. His flesh instantly swelled and reddened, and his soul was torn by an invisible force. The pain made him curl up, screaming repeatedly. The whip carried flames that scorched his physical body and holy power that stung his soul. Yet there was also life energy repairing the injuries, preventing him from dying immediately while forcing him to endure extreme agony. Yu Xiaoging felt as if his body and soul were being torn into pieces. Every inch of his skin was screaming. Yu Xiaoging, you were once the young sect master of a great power after all. Stop acting out these child-tricking games in front of me. Cayenne Zunji's voice was bone-chillingly cold, carrying undisguised killing intent. You only have one chance left. I don't have the patience to watch you act. The killing intent enveloped Yu Xiaoging like a tide. He was so terrified that his whole body went limp, and a warm liquid flowed down his pant leg. Cayenne Zunji frowned and stepped back in disgust, the disdain in his eyes almost overflowing. Yu Xiaoging gasped for breath, his expression becoming distorted. That year, I finished reading the books on the first floor of the library, but couldn't enter the second floor. Subscribe for more amazing novel audiobooks. Don't forget to like, comment, and share Infinite Novel Audio. Soon I met her. She was so innocent, beautiful, and kind. She was the holy maiden of Spirit Hall, the disciple of the Supreme Pontiff with twin spirits, innate full spirit power, and a 1,000-year second ring. She was the darling of thousands, and the whole world revolved around her. But so what? A cold sneer curled his lips, his eyes full of contempt. She was just a girl not even 20 years old, so what if she was exceptionally gifted? She hadn't seen the world. If she were in our blue lightning tyrant dragon sect, how could she have been raised like this? Spirit Hall, heh, it simply couldn't handle her. Only my blue lightning tyrant dragon sect is worthy of possessing such a genius. I paid for information about her to understand her character. After observing her for 2 months, I deliberately manufactured several chance encounters during her travels, acting unique. She had seen plenty of geniuses and was surrounded by flattery, sycophancy, and pampering. Naturally, she was attracted by my specialness. We gradually became friends. Through her, I gained access to more knowledge, which I then showed off in front of her to make her think I was learned, talented, and unrecognized. What happened after that is just as I said before. After saying these words, Yu Xiaoging seemed to have set down a heavy burden, and his whole being relaxed. In the hall, Bibai Dong felt as if she had been struck by lightning. Her face turned as pale as paper, and her body swayed, nearly collapsing to the ground. She bit her lip hard, tears falling silently. It was as if her soul had been drained away. She had completely broken down. Then did you know that she could never leave Spirit Hall, that she could never go with you? Cayenne Zunji continued to press. I knew, of course I knew, Yu Xiaoging sneered. How could a holy maiden specially nurtured by Spirit Hall leave with me? Cayenne Zunji wouldn't agree either. I just wanted to try. What if it worked? It's true that Cayenne Zunji doted on her. If she really had followed me back to the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon sect, wouldn't my Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon sect have gained a true genius? Then why do you hate her? I hate her because she made me the shame of the sect. I am the first young sect master in the history of the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon sect to be expelled from the family. I refuse to accept this. Yu Xiaoging's voice suddenly rose, his eyes filled with madness and resentment. My spirit could clearly have evolved into an existence even stronger than the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon. So why did it degenerate? It even sucked away my spirit power origin, leaving me with only half a level of innate power and unable to break through past level 30 for the rest of my life. Why? Why did this happen? With a flick of his finger, Kyan Zunji sent a golden energy into Yu Xiaoging's mind, sealing today's memories. The ropes binding him snapped, and he slumped to the ground, falling unconscious. Inside his body, that golden energy actually flowed toward his lower body. With a muffled thump, blood seeped through his pant legs. Kyan Zunji walked out of the bedroom and looked at the still weeping Bibai Dong. His tone was mocking. Your eye for people is truly unique. Having said that, he turned and walked out. Chrysanthemum Duoluo, Ghost Duoluo, and Kyan Renksu followed silently. Bibai Dong glanced at the unconscious Yu Xiaoging on the ground, the last trace of lingering affection in her eyes vanishing completely. She took a deep breath, straightened her back, and walked out the door. The group left Knotting Academy, and the carriage started up again, heading towards Spirit City. Inside the carriage, Kyan Renksu couldn't help but keep looking at Bibai Dong with a complex expression. Bibai Dong noticed her gaze and turned her head away. Kyan Renksu then turned to Kyan Zunji. Father, where are we going next? Back to Spirit City. There are still many things waiting to be handled. We've been out for a long time. Kyan Renksu nodded and stopped speaking. Bibai Dong looked at Kyan Zunji's back, her eyes extremely complex. A moment later, that complexity was replaced by a cold ruthlessness. She thought to herself, even if I was unfortunate in my choice of men, it is not his place to treat me like this. I must have my revenge for this. Outside the carriage, Chrysanthemum Duoluo pinched an orchid finger, twirling a small chrysanthemum picked from the roadside, and sighed. Old ghost, why are we two so miserable? Look at the other elders, enjoying fine food and drink in Spirit Ha. Unlike us two, acting as carriage drivers here. Without turning his head, Ghost Duoluo said coldly, Go tell His Holiness the Supreme Pontiff that you want to retire and that you won't be this hall-protecting Duoluo anymore. You dead ghost, wasn't I just trying to liven up the atmosphere because you looked bored? Chrysanthemum Duoluo grumbled. Chapter 38, Slaughter City Angel's Might. In Slaughter Town, at the entrance to Slaughter City, a dense crowd of people huddled together, their clamor nearly reaching the heavens. Let us in quickly. What are you dawdling for? Open the gate immediately. I want to go in. Stop pushing from behind. Within the crowd, some were shoving while others were roaring. Every face was filled with anxiety and madness, as if life-demanding wraiths were chasing them from behind. Silence, all of you. A stern shout rang out like a clap of thunder. Over a dozen enforcers clad in black armor pushed through the crowd, revealing their spirit rings one after another. Yellow, purple, and black rings shining together. Every enforcer was at least a 6-ring spirit emperor, and their leader was an 8-ring spirit duoluo, whose spirit power pressure radiated outward. The noisy crowd instantly fell silent, everyone deterred by this aura, subconsciously retreating with looks of fear in their eyes. You, stop looking. Yes, you, come out. The 8-ring spirit duoluo pointed at a wretched-looking man in his 30s within the crowd. The man shrank his neck and helplessly squeezed out of the crowd, saying, My lord, what do you need from me? What is going on here? Spirit Duoluo de Cura pointed at the gathered crowd, his tone cold. My lord, you have no idea, the man said with a mournful face. We barely managed to escape here from the pursuit of those god-forsaken spirit masters, all to enter the paradise of Slaughter City. Slaughter Paradise? De Cura sneered inwardly. This fellow likely had some misunderstanding. But on second thought, these people were all new resources. The Slaughter King would surely be pleased to know. He pressed further. You said someone is hunting you. Hundreds of spirit masters like you are being hunted. Is it people from the upper three sects? It's not the upper three sects. It's Spirit Hall's Angel Legion. Deep-seated fear appeared on the man's face. Those birdmen aren't human at all. The ones with the lowest cultivation are spirit saints, and they move in groups of dozens or even hundreds every time. During this short period, we free spirit masters have suffered heavy losses. Many brothers have died at their hands. Dakura's brow furrowed tightly. He remembered when he was also forced into Slaughter City by the Angel Legion. After 10 years of narrow escapes through slaughter, he had finally attained the position of enforcer captain. Those damned birdmen truly made one's teeth itch with hatred. Looking at this man, who shared a similar plight, Dakura's expression softened slightly. We are all wanderers at the end of the world. Why must we have met before to understand each other? These people could be considered brothers. Fine, all of you enter. Dakura waved his hand. Those birdmen won't dare enter Slaughter City. The crowd erupted into cheers, scrambling to surge into the gate radiating an ominous aura, as if they were stepping not into a dead end, but a true path to life. Dakura watched their retreating backs, doubts rising in his heart. It seemed the Angel Legion had begun purging the fallen again. But in the past, they always operated in small teams of a few people, fighting individually. Why were they acting in groups of dozens now? Dozens of experts at the spirit saint level or above were enough to threaten the lower four sects. Spirit Hall, what exactly are they trying to do? Thousands of miles away, in a temporary camp. Young Lord, another batch of the fallen has fled towards Slaughter City. A two-winged angel spirit master spoke with infinite admiration for the person before him. The young girl addressed as Young Lord turned around. Her brilliant golden hair was as dazzling as sunlight, and her golden pupils were clear and majestic. Though appearing 18, she had a tall and upright stature. A suit of silver-white armor outlined her tight curves, and the 8-winged angel spirit phantom behind her flickered, looking holy and inviolable. This person was none other than N.A.N. Understood. N.A.N.'s voice was cold. Rest well tonight. Tomorrow we go to Heaven Dew City. Yes. Around 100 members of the Angel Legion responded in unison and began setting up camp, their movements perfectly synchronized and showing strict discipline. The current N.A.N. had just turned 13 not long ago. At 10, she made a breakthrough to level 50 and absorbed a 200,000-year God-bestowed spirit ring, bringing her spirit power straight to level 53. At 13, she made a breakthrough to level 60 and absorbed a 300,000-year God-bestowed spirit ring, stabilizing her spirit power at level 63. Her father had said she was unique and must become the strongest in every realm. Therefore, every time she absorbed a spirit ring, she didn't focus on increasing her cultivation, but used the vast majority of the ring's power to strengthen her spirit, enhance her physique, and compress her spirit power. Now, her spirit power had been compressed 8 times. Her mental force had reached the level of a level 95 titled Duoluo, and her physical body strength was comparable to a level 91 titled Duoluo. Her 5th soul skill, Angel's Protection, was an ultimate defensive skill against physical, energy, and mental attacks. As long as her spirit power was not exhausted, her defense would not be broken. Unless the enemy's power was 10 times her maximum power, the defense could not be broken in a single strike. Her 6th soul skill, Enchantment, could bestow 5 times her normal attributes onto her body or weapon, allowing her to deliver a strike far exceeding an ordinary 300,000-year soul skill. The next morning, everyone put their luggage into spirit tools and released their spirits. For a moment, light and shadows flickered above the camp. 2-winged and 4-winged angels spread their wings to fly, while flying spirits like eagles, pigeons, and owls circled, and even the figures of flying wolf spirits could be seen among them. Depart! Kayan Rengsu gave the order and was the first to spread her wings and fly. 8 wings sliced through the sky as over 100 spirit masters followed closely behind, forming a spectacular torrent. The Angel Legion, after years of resources from the ice and fire yin-yang well, was no longer what it used to be. It had expanded from the initial 100-plus members to over 300, with everyone being a spirit saint or above, divided into 3 armies. The 3 legion commanders were all titled Duoluo and all possessed angel spirits, 2 4-winged angels and 1 2-winged angel. 2 months ago, Kayan Zunji gave Kayan Rengsu a mission: sweep away the fallen and promote the angel faith. The 3 angel legions would take turns following her, rotating every 3 months. She needed to complete the mission within 9 months. Angel spirits have a special sensitivity to the fallen, and as an 8-winged angel, Kayan Rengsu's sensing ability was even more exquisite. For 2 months, she had accurately struck the fallen, adopting a strategy of killing half and releasing half, driving the remaining people toward Slaughter City. This could effectively reduce casualties for the Angel Legion. A group of spirit masters with a death wish could likely cause unnecessary losses to her side, and this also allowed for a concentrated cleanup of the fallen. This was a decision Kayan Rengsu had made after careful consideration. The Angel Legion was the direct force of the Kayan family, and she had an obligation to be responsible for every person. Wherever the Angel Legion went, discussions were rife. In villages and towns, commoners watched those spirit masters bathed in holy light slay the fallen who had been pillaging and murdering, and rescue trapped villagers. They knelt on the ground, shouting, "The angels have descended," their eyes full of gratitude and support. In various sects, elders gathered with solemn expressions. What exactly is the Angel Legion intending with such a grand display? They act under the banner of purging the fallen, but who knows if they are expanding their influence? Seeds of suspicion took root and sprouted in their hearts. In the Heaven Dew Imperial Palace, Zhu Yi and his ministers looked at the messages sent back by spies, their brows furrowed. Spirit Hall's strength was already formidable, and now that the Angel Legion is showing its edge, I fear it bodes ill for my empire. Their wariness was palpable. At the 7 Treasure Glaze Tile School, Enning Fengzhai looked out the window and said softly, "Uncle Jian, the Angel Legion hasn't moved on such a large scale in a long time. What do you think Spirit Hall is trying to do?" Sword Duoluo Chenzin gripped his sword hilt, his eyes sharp. "I'm not sure, but I am very interested in that young girl in her teens." An 8-winged angel, Ning Fengzhai sighed. A seraphim was already powerful enough, but 8 wings. Spirit Hall is truly leaving us no way to survive. Chen Xin said deeply, "Fengzhai, we cannot touch that girl. In the entire continent, no one is qualified to touch her." Enning Fengzhai was silent for a moment before nodding. He knew Uncle Jian was right. An 8-winged angel's potential was unfathomable, and with Spirit Hall backing her, no one could or dared to touch the current Kayan Rengsu. Chapter 39. Slaughter converges, angels descend on town. "Run! That bunch of killers is chasing us!" a spirit emperor roared, his face covered in blood and terror. Dozens of spirit masters nearby turned pale at these words, their footsteps stumbling. Some were so scared their legs went weak, nearly collapsing to the ground, only to be dragged forward by their companions. In the sky, 5 spirit masters from the Angel Legion were slowly following. Wang Sheng, with the dragon claw eagle spirit, frowned and glanced down disdainfully. "I really don't know what the young lord is thinking. We could wipe out this bunch of scum with a joint effort. Why keep chasing them like this? What's the point?" "The young lord is just worried about our safety," Liu Feng said. "The fallen have extremely strong combat power. Even those at the Spirit Emperor realm can fight dozens of rounds against a spirit saint. If they fight to the death, we will inevitably suffer casualties. I stopped caring about life and death the moment I joined the Angel Legion," Wang Sheng said coldly. "The fallen should be slaughtered completely, leaving none behind." "That may be true, But it's best if we don't die, another spirit saint replied. Once they enter Slaughter City, they will kill each other. There's no need for us to suffer unnecessary casualties. Wang Sheng stopped speaking, merely sweeping a contemptuous gaze over the figures fleeing below. As his wings flapped, the golden light grew increasingly intense. Hundreds of miles away, a spirit saint was bathed in blood, his eyes crimson. He brandished a long blade in his hand, taking a life with every slash. The surrounding the fallen were soul flying away and spirit scattering, screaming and fleeing in all directions. Some panicked and collided, while others were pushed to the ground by companions, instantly hacked in two by the pursuing blade. A quarter of an hour later, the fallen remained standing on the battlefield, only corpses covering the ground. All right, Lai Yuan, they've all fled, a companion walked up. You're covered in too much filth. The young lord doesn't like to be near people covered in blood. Go clean yourself up. Li Yuan grinned, revealing a mouthful of white teeth, though his face was stained with blood, making him look somewhat ferocious. Captain, isn't it because I was too excited? I haven't killed like this in a long time. I couldn't hold back for a moment. Li Yuan's spirit was the flaming flying wolf, originally a mutated spirit, innate level 6. 3 years after awakening his spirit, the fallen ransacked his village. His parents were killed, and less than 1 in 10 villagers survived. The immense hatred caused his spirit to mutate again, turning into a hell demon wolf, and his temperament became extremely bloodthirsty. Just as he was at death's door, he was saved by the Angel Legion and subsequently joined the reserve army. It was full of flying spirit masters with various spirits, with a minimum innate spirit power of level 5. From then on, Lai Yuan cultivated desperately, just to become a spirit saint and join the Angel Legion. A few years ago, the Supreme Pontiff allocated a large amount of resources, allowing him to achieve a breakthrough to Spirit Saint at less than 40 years old, and he even has hopes of challenging the Spirit Duoluo realm in the future. To him, the fallen were to be killed on sight. He lived only for revenge. Over 1,000 miles away, a golden light suddenly descended from the sky, accompanied by a few screams. The team of hundreds of spirit masters below was reduced to less than half in an instant. The survivors, ignoring their injuries, scrambled towards Slaughter City. Some lost their shoes, others clutched bleeding wounds, their eyes filled only with fear. N.A.N Renksu slowly descended to the ground. The four-winged angel N.A.N Ling stepped forward and sighed. Young lord, you are becoming stronger and stronger. I might not even be your match anymore. Commander N.A.N Ling is being too modest, N.A.N Renksu said humbly. You are a senior, having fought on the front lines for decades with great contributions. Your cultivation has reached level 95, only one step away from level 96. I still have a long way to go. N.A.N Ling smiled, but he knew in his heart that an 8-winged angel had a natural suppression over his 4-winged angel, and it even came with a domain. If he were to really face the current N.A.N Renksu, he feared he wouldn't even be able to exert 50% of his power. The Yangtze River's waves push the waves ahead. It seems it's time for him to retire. It is now the world of the young. N.A.N Ling looked back at the spirit saints behind him, feeling moved. The Angel Legion hasn't been this prosperous in hundreds of years. Among the more than 300 people, the Angel clan accounts for more than 60. And the entire Angel clan has only about 300 people, with about 100 having achieved a breakthrough to Spirit Saint, and dozens of other Spirit Saints guarding the clan lands. Commander N.A.N Ling, we must speed up, N.A.N Renksu said. In 3 days, the 9-month deadline will arrive. The more than 100 people dispatched this time are divided into more than 10 teams, driving the fallen on the continent towards Slaughter City. We cannot miss the time. N.A.N Ling nodded. The young lord is right. I will pass the order down now to have each team speed up. 3 days later, 100 miles outside Slaughter Town, a team of dozens encountered another team of over 100 on a narrow road. Both sides instantly tensed, hands on their spirits, the atmosphere explosive. Both teams were disheveled, stained with blood, their faces full of exhaustion yet filled with vigilance. "Are you being hunted by the Angel Legion?" the leader of one team asked, voice trembling. "Aren't you?" the leader of the other team asked, eyes rimmed with red. "They are slaughtering everywhere, not giving us any way to live." The two grown men spoke, then actually hugged each other and wept, recounting their respective encounters. Such scenes were common near Slaughter Town. Of course, there were also those who started fighting immediately upon meeting, in order to devour the other side to recover spirit power and improve their strength. Blades and swords clashed instantly, exhausted figures fell in the slaughter, and the winners dragged even heavier bodies, continuing to move towards Slaughter City. Slaughter Town, the entrance to Slaughter City. Dracula was directing the enforcers to maintain order. During this period, the population of Slaughter City had surged, with dozens to hundreds pouring in every day. As the leader of this enforcer team, he had taken the opportunity to collect quite a few attractive maids, living quite comfortably. "Report to the commander. A large group of the fallen is rushing here," an enforcer reported hurriedly. "How many people?" Dracula raised an eyebrow. "It's unclear. They are coming from all directions. Large groups of hundreds, small groups of dozens. My subordinate estimates there are at least 3,000 people." So many, Dracula was somewhat surprised. This was the largest number to date. "All delicious food." He licked his lips, a flash of greed in his eyes. "Hurry, open the entrance to the maximum." "Commander, the entrance is already at its maximum. It can only accommodate 800 people in 1 hour at most. To speed it up, we must ask the Slaughter King to do it himself." Dracula frowned. "Understood, maintain order first." Watching more and more of the fallen pouring in, Dracula was in a great mood. The more people there were, the more abundant the nourishment for Slaughter City, and his power as a commander would rise accordingly. An hour later, in order to enter Slaughter City first, the fallen at the entrance began to riot. Some cut in line, some pushed, arguments and curses erupted, and some even drew blades on each other, leaving the scene in chaos. Seeing this, Dracula suddenly released 9 spirit rings. The aura of a level 91 titled Duo pressing down. The surroundings instantly quieted down. Everyone was deterred by this pressure, and the discussions ceased abruptly. "Line up for me, one team at a time," Dracula shouted sternly. "Whoever dares to cause trouble, this seat doesn't mind sending you to hell early." Everyone shrank their necks in fear, not daring to make any further moves, obediently lining up in a long queue, though their eyes towards Dracula still carried fear and unwillingness. When the last batch of the fallen arrived at Slaughter Town, figures suddenly appeared in the sky. 1, 2, 10, 30, 50. Soon, nearly 100 powerhouses above the spirit saint level descended, various wings particularly dazzling in the sunlight. The surrounding the fallen were soul flying away and spirit scattering, retreating one after another. Some even collapsed on the ground, muttering, "Angel Legion! How did they chase us here?" Dracula's brows locked tightly, thinking to himself that it was bad. These spirit saints were not weak, and there were more than a dozen spirit duo among them. Although he was a level 91 titled duo who could fight with a level 93, facing so many spirit saints, each capable of releasing their martial soul true body, each with a skill, could beat him into serious injury. He wasn't arrogant enough to think he could fight the entire Angel Legion alone. He knew even better that they had formation methods. One spirit duo cooperating with 8 spirit saints could unleash a blow equivalent to a level 91 titled duo using a spirit ability. "Everyone, don't panic." Dracula forced himself to remain calm and said loudly, "This is Slaughter City, the paradise of slaughter. The people of the Angel Legion dare not enter." As he spoke, he secretly transmitted his voice to an enforcer. "Hurry in and report to the Slaughter King. Let him come out to preside over the overall situation. Otherwise, these thousands of the fallen will all die here. The enforcer received the order, immediately pushed through the people in line, and rushed into Slaughter City. Everyone listen, from now on, entering Slaughter City is prohibited. Otherwise, you will be killed without mercy. The deputy commander of the Angel Legion announced loudly. The surroundings immediately exploded. What? Not allowed to enter? What do we do then? The Angel Legion is trying to exterminate us. Commander Dracula, think of a way. How dare they be presumptuous at the gate of Slaughter City? Everyone's eyes turned towards Dracula, carrying their last hope. Dracula braced himself and stepped forward. Angel Legion, you are as overbearing as you were back then. Don't forget, this is the territory of Slaughter City, not a place for your spirit hall to run wild. The deputy commander looked at him with contempt. You are just bugs hiding underground. If it weren't for our mercy, we would have wiped you all out long ago. Dracula was trembling with anger, his face livid, but he didn't dare to actually make a move. Inside the inner city of Slaughter City, the Slaughter King learned that the Angel Legion was blocking the entrance. His face changed drastically, and he slammed his throne. Furious, Spirit Hall has such audacity. How dare they be presumptuous at the gate of my Slaughter City? Chapter 40. Kyan Renksu appears, battle with Dracula. Above Slaughter Town, golden feathers fell like fine rain. The accumulated blood-red malevolent aura in the field melted like ice and snow, meeting the sun upon touching these feathers. The bloody hue permeating the air gradually faded, revealing a sense of clarity. Everyone looked up, their expressions changing drastically. That angelic appearance hit a demonic heart. The one who had killed the most of them was precisely this young girl who looked young, but was filled with killing intent. She stood in midair, her golden hair flowing like a waterfall, her golden eyes cold and sharp, 8 wings spread out, exuding a terrifying pressure amidst her divinity. A feather landed on Dracula's shoulder, and he felt a sliver of spirit power inside him being purified. That was the unique purification power of the Seraphim, undoubtedly a nightmare for a free spirit master. The deeper the degree of corruption, the more spirit power would be purified. Dracula watched Kyan Renksu as she slowly descended with over a dozen spirit masters. His heart surged. The Angel clan is uniquely blessed, while we free spirit masters liberate ourselves to increase or even double our combat power, and our cultivation speed is fast. As long as there is enough food, there are almost no talent restrictions before becoming a spirit saint. There are no trash spirits, only trash spirit masters. That refers to us. We can change our fate against the heavens without needing charity from others. But why must there be seraphim? A 2-winged angel can suppress 20% of the power of a free spirit master of the same rank, 4 wings 30%, and it said 6 wings can suppress 50%. This girl actually has 8 wings. Is heaven truly trying to destroy us free spirit masters? Must we hide in Slaughter City for our entire lives? His expression turned from calm to anger, and finally settled into a deep sense of helplessness. Nearly 100 spirit masters in the air bowed in unison, their voices shaking the surroundings. Welcome, young lord! Their aura was like a rainbow. The members of the Angel clan within the Angel Legion looked at the fallen below, their eyes burning with intensity, as if staring at delicious food. Although the spirit power of these fallen was filthy, it was the perfect nourishment to temper their own purification power. The fallen shrank back, their eyes filled with terror as they looked toward Dracula, viewing him as their last life-saving straw. What are you afraid of? Dracula forced his aura up and shouted. You are all free spirit masters, why should you be suppressed by them? There are thousands of us and only 100 of them. The advantage is ours. Scattered echoes of agreement rang out around him, but most were just blustering roars. Some clenched their fists, while others subconsciously retreated. Fear had already taken root deep in their hearts. The Angel Legion split into 9-person teams and quickly dispersed, forming an encirclement that cut off all escape routes for the fallen. A golden curtain of light lit up behind them like a heavenly chasm. "Lord Dracula, what do we do now? They're about to attack," an enforcer asked with a trembling voice. "Why hasn't that trash returned yet?" Dracula gnashed his teeth. "The next time I see him, I'll definitely break one of his arms." Anger surged on his face, but his heart grew increasingly panicked. Spirit rings lit up beneath N.A.N. Renksu's feet. 2 yellow, 4 red, 6 spirit rings flashing alternately as she released her full aura. Purification power filled the space, and the fallen nearby immediately felt their power suppressed. The weaker ones even saw their combat strength plummet to less than 50%. Dracula also felt his combat power suppressed by more than 10%, and his heart was greatly shaken. To have such power just by releasing her aura, how terrifying must the quality of this spirit be? Furthermore, this purification power would strengthen as the power of the fallen was purified. If this continued, the situation would only worsen. 4 red spirit rings, 100,000 year. Monster, she's a monster. One of the fallen shrieked, his voice filled with despair. How rare were 100,000-year spirit rings. For a spirit emperor to have 4 was completely beyond their comprehension. The members of the Angel Legion looked at N.A.N. Renksu with burning eyes, filled with undisguised worship, admiration, and fervor. Under the boost of her aura, the spirit power within their bodies became increasingly active, their combat power increasing by at least 10%, and their recovery speed also quickened significantly. This was a passive ability inherent to the 6-winged angel spirit, capable of collective amplification and activating the spirit power within spirit masters who held light in their hearts. Dracula looked at the ragtag crowd before him, who had long since lost their courage, knowing it was impossible to rely on them. The opposite side was filled with experts. After a set of spirit abilities, he feared he would also fall here. But he couldn't flee now. Otherwise, where would his face as a commander go? His eyes darted around as he calculated an escape route. If it really came down to it, he could only run away directly. Finally, his gaze landed on N.A.N. Renksu. Though he didn't know how she possessed 400,000-year spirit rings, he could feel that she hadn't reached the titled duo level yet, so she shouldn't have twin spirits. These spirit rings must be a disguise used to scare people. It must be so. Dracula steadied himself, walked to the front of the crowd, and cupped his hands, saying, "I wonder how I should address this senior. I have been in Slaughter City for decades and have never heard of a twin spirit's possessor like Senior who could cultivate." He thought to himself that if she really had twin spirits, he would run away immediately. The entrance was less than 100 steps away. With his speed, he should be able to escape. N.A.N. Renksu was taken aback and asked in return, "Are you asking me?" "Exactly," Dracula nodded. "I am no senior, nor do I have twin spirits." The corners of N.A.N. Renksu's mouth curled up with a hint of playfulness. "You're an interesting one among the fallen. Others just run when they see me, but you take the initiative to greet me." "What? Do you think because your cultivation is high, you don't fear me?" "Senior, please do not deceive me. With 400,000-year spirit rings, how could you not have twin spirits?" Dracula didn't believe her. "I'm not lying to you, nor is there any need to." N.A.N. Renksu's smile deepened. "I really only have one spirit, and I'm just a spirit emperor. Wanna have a go? If you win, I'll let you go." Dracula's eyes lit up. The Angel clan had always been proud, and the possibility of her lying was not great. As long as he defeated her, he could truly become second to only one and above 10,000 in Slaughter City. "Young lord, you mustn't." N.A.N. Ling hurriedly tried to stop her. "This fallen is not simple." "Commander N.A.N. Ling, rest assured, N.A.N. Renksu, never do anything I'm not certain of." N.A.N. Renksu's tone was firm. "A titled duo, I haven't killed one yet." "Have you considered it?" N.A.N. Renksu looked at Dracula. "Either fight me, or we all attack together." Dracula gnashed his teeth. "Fine, I'll fight you." The first spirit ring beneath N.A.N. Renksu's feet lit up, and armament was activated. Platinum armor instantly covered her body, shimmering with light, and a golden longsword appeared out of thin air in her hand, its blade flowing with a divine halo. "Here I come," she warned, her figure like a lightning bolt as she lunged straight at Dracula. Dracula did not dare to be careless and immediately performed spirit possession. The dark leopard spirit manifested. His entire body was covered in jet black fur, his nails became sharp as claws, his figure became agile, and a long saber glowing with an eerie light appeared in his hand. The two instantly clashed. N.A.N. Renksu swept her longsword, and a golden sword kai carrying purification power slashed toward Dracula, leaving an afterimage in the air. Dracula dodged to the side and swung his saber upward, slashing toward her waist with a thick aura of darkness. N.A.N. Renksu spun and parried with her longsword. With a crisp clang, sparks flew, and both retreated 3 steps. N.A.N. Renksu flapped her wings, her figure rising higher, her longsword pointing straight at the sky as golden spirit power gathered into a pillar of light that struck down fiercely. Dracula's pupils constricted, and he kicked off the ground, his body moving left and right like a ghost to evade the light pillar, while simultaneously throwing several dark blade chi from his saber toward N.A.N. Renksu's face. N.A.N. Renksu did not retreat but advanced, her longsword stabbing toward Dracula's heart. Dracula blocked with his saber but was jarred by the purification power on the longsword until his arm went numb. Sensing trouble, he flipped backward violently, narrowly avoiding the blade's edge, but his back was still grazed by the sword chi, leaving a charred wound. Dracula let out a roar, his third spirit ring lighting up as Dark Assault was activated. His figure turned into a black shadow, instantly appearing behind N.A.N. Renksu, his saber slashing down with the sound of breaking wind. As if she had eyes in the back of her head, N.A.N. Renksu turned and struck with her sword, the tip precisely hitting the back of the saber, knocking Dracula back. N.A.N. Renksu pressed her advantage, her longsword tracing out blossoms of sword flowers, each strike carrying purification power, forcing Dracula to retreat repeatedly. The wounds on his body grew more numerous. His dark spirit power was continuously purified, and his aura gradually weakened. A flash of ruthlessness crossed Dracula's eyes, his fourth spirit ring lit up, and Leopard Shadow Clone was activated. Several black shadows lunged at N.A.N. Renksu simultaneously, making it impossible to distinguish the real from the fake. Chapter 41. Dracula's Demise, Slaughter Town Drenched in Blood. N.A.N. Renksu's figure was like lightning. As she brandished her longsword, Dracula's clones were shattered one by one, dissipating into black smoke. Her movements were so fast they almost left afterimages. Every strike was incredibly precise, carrying the power of holy purification, leaving the clones composed of dark energy with nowhere to hide. Dracula took the opportunity to break free and flew into the air. N.A.N. Renksu let out a light laugh. The sky is the home turf of angels. How can a leopard know the vastness of the sky? Before her voice had even faded, she activated her martial soul possession. 8 wings unfurled, and with a flash of golden light, she pursued him, her speed actually being a notch faster than Dracula's. Dracula's 7th spirit ring suddenly lit up as he activated his martial soul true body. His figure swelled several times over, transforming into a pitch-black giant leopard with claws shimmering with cold light. The claw shadows, carrying dense dark energy, clashed with the golden sword kai unleashed by N.A.N. Renksu. The two forces collided, producing a deafening roar. The airwaves rippled outward, flipping the ground up several feet. Nearby the fallen were struck by the shockwave, screaming as they were sent flying backward. "The young lord is mighty," the angel legion shouted in unison, their voices piercing the clouds. The fallen, however, looked ashen-faced. Someone whispered tremblingly, "How could Lord Dracula be at a disadvantage?" "That girl is too strong. I'm afraid we're all going to die here." Dracula steadied his still-shaking claws, his heart filled with horror. "Too strong. Fighting her, my power is actually suppressed to only 50%. I thought the martial soul true body would bring a massive boost, but this girl's boost from just her martial soul possession is actually on par with mine. Kyan Renksu hovered in midair about 10 meters above the ground. The long sword in her hand vanished, replaced by a golden longbow. She pulled the bowstring, and the two powers of holiness and flame intertwined, condensing into a brilliant arrow of light. She aimed and fired at Dracula. Dracula felt an irresistible aura from the arrow. Not daring to take it head-on, he violently twisted his body to dodge. The light arrow grazed his fur and hit the ground, instantly exploding into a bottomless pit a meter in diameter. The earth around the pit was charred black by the high temperature, emitting a pungent smell. Dracula broke into a cold sweat. This piercing power was too terrifying. He feared even his martial soul true body couldn't withstand it. Kyan Renksu continuously drew her bow and fired, light arrows raining down upon Dracula like raindrops. He dodged left and right, sometimes weaving through as a dark shadow, sometimes swatting away the arrows with his sharp claws. One light arrow grazed his hind leg, instantly leaving a charred wound that made him groan in pain. Another arrow shot toward his face. He ducked his head sharply, and the arrow flew past his ear, piercing through a giant boulder behind him. Kyan Renksu's gaze sharpened, and 7 light arrows were fired simultaneously, covering Dracula's surroundings in a fan shape. He dodged with all his might, but was still hit in the abdomen by one arrow. The light arrow sank an inch deep and exploded into golden flames. Dracula screamed in agony and was forced to deactivate his martial soul true body, his figure returning to its original state. Blood flowed incessantly from his abdomen, and the skin around the wound was charred, revealing deathly white bone. While the martial soul true body could greatly increase combat power, the target was too large. It was practically a sitting duck. If this continued, death was certain. The desire to retreat grew stronger in Dracula's heart, and his eyes flickered toward the entrance of Slaughter City not far away. At the entrance of Slaughter City, hundreds of enforcers had gathered. The Slaughter King stood at the very front, watching the battle ahead. He could feel the presence of nearly 20 angels within the Angel Legion. Ordinary angels were nothing to fear, but 2 of them were particularly troublesome. One had a cultivation reaching the titled Duoluo level, while the other, despite having a lower cultivation, possessed a purification power even stronger than that titled Duoluo. He also had to suppress Tang Chen within his body and couldn't use too much power. The power of angels was his natural nemesis. Once he acted, he feared he wouldn't be able to keep Tang Chen suppressed. This Slaughter City was his, and he hadn't enjoyed it enough yet. "Lord Slaughter King, are we not going out?" An enforcer couldn't help but ask. The Slaughter King glanced at them, his eyes cold. Spirit Hall hasn't barged into Slaughter City, which means they still want to follow the rules. Once we go out, it means total war with Spirit Hall. Do you want to go to war with Spirit Hall? The enforcers looked at each other. Someone muttered, "No, Spirit Hall is too strong. With just us few, going out would be suicide. Better to listen to the Lord, and not be impulsive." The Slaughter King snorted coldly. "Just watch from here. They are merely a few thousand of the fallen. They haven't entered yet, so they don't count as citizens of my Slaughter City. As for Dracula, you must have faith in him. He fought his way from an enforcer to the position of commander." He thought to himself, "I'm not chickening out, I'm just looking out for these weaklings." Send enforcers out? Don't be ridiculous. The lowest members of the Angel Legion are spirit saints, while most enforcers are spirit emperors and would be suppressed by angel power. Without me, the chance of winning is less than 20%. He didn't want to lose his foundation. As for Dracula, he believed the man could make it back alive. Among titled Duoluo, there are no weaklings. Outside, Dracula and Kyan Renksu had already been fighting for the time it takes an incense stick to burn. The two no longer relied on spirit abilities, purely competing in speed and technique. Dracula wanted to put some distance between them. But his speed wasn't as fast as Kayan Rengsu's, so he could only passively take her moves. His claws continuously clashed with Kayan Rengsu's light sword. Every contact numbed his arms, and the wounds on his body grew more numerous. Feeling that his spirit power was less than half, Dracula steeled his heart and activated his 8th spirit skill, Dark Domain. Dense dark energy spread out with him as the center, forming a dark field. Kayan Rengsu only felt her vision darken and her speed hindered, and she was pushed back several steps by a massive force. Dracula took the chance to sprint toward the entrance of Slaughter City, pushing his speed to the limit. A cold light flashed in Kayan Rengsu's eyes as she activated her spirit bone skill, teleportation. The current Kayan Rengsu's maximum teleportation distance was 200 meters. Kayan Rengsu's figure instantly appeared in front of Dracula. She swung her sword horizontally, and Golden Sword Kai slashed out like a crescent moon. In his haste, Dracula activated his 5th soul skill to block, but he was sent flying by the sword chi, crashing heavily onto the ground, returning to the battlefield from just moments ago. Kayan Rengsu activated her spirit bone skill, Godspeed, instantly doubling her speed. Her 3rd spirit ring glowed red as she activated the Angel 8-stage slash. Sword light flashed, striking Dracula. He froze for a moment, actually feeling no pain. While he was confused, he discovered his body had become exceptionally sluggish, as if bound by invisible chains. Kayan Rengsu took the opportunity to unleash 7 consecutive moves, and Dracula was sent flying repeatedly like a ragdoll. Ha ha ha, little girl, this spirit ability of yours is useless. Dracula forced himself to stand up, laughing triumphantly. After so many hits, you didn't even break my skin. Is that so? A cold smile curled onto the corner of Kayan Rengsu's mouth. Dracula's body suddenly began to swell, his skin cracking like porcelain, and golden energy leaked uncontrollably from the fissures. Ah! He let out a shrill scream. A moment later, he was covered in blood, riddled with dozens of wounds of various sizes. He stumbled to his knees, gasping for air. What a domineering spirit ability! As expected of a 100,000-year spirit ability. He was horrified. To counteract this force, he had consumed over 30% of his spirit power. Now, he had only a bit over 10% left, barely enough to sustain his life. The fallen were frightened out of their wits. Some tried to flee, but were blocked by the Angel Legion. Some slumped to the ground with hollow eyes. Others murmured to themselves, "It's over. It's completely over." The members of the Angel Legion were greatly encouraged, looking at Kayan Rengsu with burning eyes, awaiting her command. It's over. Kayan Rengsu's gaze narrowed as she condensed a golden spear in her hand. Her 6th spirit ring glowed red as she activated enchantment. Holy power flooded into the spear, causing it to emit a heart-palpitating aura. She violently threw the spear, aiming straight for Dracula. A flash of determination crossed Dracula's eyes. Using all his strength and burning his final life force, he activated his 9th spirit skill, Dark Demon Claw. Dense dark energy gathered into a giant claw, meeting the spear. The two collided, producing an earth-shattering boom. Golden light and dark energy intertwined and annihilated each other, forming a massive shockwave that leveled everything within 100 meters. When the smoke cleared, only a giant pit remained. Dracula's body was gone without a trace. Angel Legion, hear my command, Kayan Rengsu shouted loudly. Present, everyone responded in unison, their voices deafening. Kill, leave none of the fallen alive. The Angel Legion charged into the fallen like tigers into a flock of sheep. Golden sword light and wings flashed as the power of purification continuously dissolved the darkness. One of the fallen tried to resist, but his skull was crushed by an angel palm print. A group of people huddled together to resist, but were struck simultaneously by several golden sword kai beams, instantly turning to ash. Some knelt and begged for mercy, only to be cut down without hesitation. Others tried to blend in with the corpses and play dead, but their chests were crushed by the foot of a spirit saint. Still others tried to take their companions hostage, only to have their foreheads pierced by light arrows. Resistance was weak and brief, soon replaced by a bloody massacre. Half an hour later, every member of the Angel Legion was covered in blood, almost all of it belonging to the enemy. On the ground, thousands of corpses lay scattered everywhere. Blood flowed like a river, staining the town's soil red. After another half hour, the Angel Legion cremated all the corpses, and black smoke curled upward. Qian Ling stepped forward and reported, "Young Lord, not a single person in the Angel Legion died. 18 are heavily injured, and thousands of the fallen have been wiped out." Qian Rengsu nodded. "Rest for 3 days, then return to Spirit City." Chapter 42. The Leisurely Supreme Pontiff, Divine Skill and Divine Artifact. Spirit City. The back garden of Pope Hill. Qian Zunji lay lazily on a rocking chair, while Ah Yin sat to one side, her slender fingers pinching a plump grape and offering it to his lips. These days, Qian Zunji was living quite a comfortable life. At night, he had Ah Yin for company, and in his leisure time, he would go to discipline that rebellious disciple, Bibai Dong. Ever since awakening his past life memories, he had rarely concerned himself with the official business of the Spirit Hall. In recent years, he had even dumped all responsibilities onto Bibai Dong, who served as the Holy Maiden. He specifically dispatched 2 members of the Angel clan to spot-check 1 out of every 3 official documents processed by Bibai Dong. If any errors were found, they would immediately go to teach her a lesson. As for Qian Zunji himself, he would review 1 out of every 10 documents that those 2 clansmen had already checked to ensure everything was correct. Official business that used to take him an hour or 2 every day to handle was now only looked at by him once a month, or sometimes even once every 2 or 3 months. He was already the Supreme Pontiff, so why would he still work? Working was impossible. This Supreme Pontiff never works. When Qian Rengsu achieved her breakthrough to level 50 and level 60, the system gave Qian Zunji critical reward bonuses. A total of 5 times feedback for level 50, and a total of 4 times feedback for level 60. Now, his 5th spirit ring had reached 1 million years, and his 6th spirit ring was over 1.2 million years. His cultivation had entered the realm of a 99th level super duo. His spirit power had been compressed for the 7th time, and his physical body strength and mental force had simultaneously reached the level of a super duo. With his cultivation at this point, even with the help of the Tao Xuan scripture, it would take decades to advance any further. Rather than wasting effort on cultivation, it was better to sit back and wait for Qian Rengsu to advance, or to properly nurture the next generation. Cultivation, forget it. Relying on his daughter and hopping for a son was the true path. "Brother Qian, open your mouth." Ah Yin's eyes curved, her voice gentle. Qian Zunji opened his mouth as told. The sweetness of the grape spread across his tongue, and he squinted comfortably, enjoying the relaxation. For the gift package for Qian Rengsu's breakthrough to level 50, the system rewarded him with the divine rank skill, Spirit Ring Fusion. True Spirit Ring Fusion. Subscribe for more amazing novel audiobooks. Don't forget to like, comment, and share Infinite Novel Audio. According to system information, Qian Zunji learned that spirit rings themselves had the function of storing spirit power. When the spirit power within a spirit master's body exceeded 10 times the total original energy of the spirit ring, the spirit ring would transform into a spirit power storage device. A 10-year spirit ring could store 5% of a spirit master's total spirit power, a 100-year ring 7%, a 1,000-year ring 10%, a 10,000-year ring 20%, a 100,000-year ring 50%, and a million-year ring 100%. Spirit Ring Fusion could further refine the spirit ring, significantly increasing its storage capacity. A 100-year ring could store 10%, a 1,000-year ring 20%, a 10,000-year ring 30%, a 100,000-year ring 100%, and a million-year ring 200%. More importantly, spirit ring fusion allowed the spirit ring to merge into the body, bringing the spirit master a corresponding increase in spirit power. After entering the body, the spirit ring would form a small danshin, continuously absorbing external energy to replenish itself, greatly increasing stamina. Furthermore, once merged into the body, the spirit ring could still be used to cast spirit ability. Spirit ring fusion was divided into 10 realms. For every realm broken through, 10% of the spirit ability effect could be released, reaching up to 100%. The reward for level 60 was the high-tier divine artifact, Void Mirror, which was divided into 1 mother mirror and 8 child mirrors, totaling 9 mirrors. The child mirrors possess the power of a low-tier divine artifact. Kyan Zunji gave Kyan Renksu 2 child mirrors, instructing her that if she encountered danger and could not overcome it even with a divine artifact, she should use one to block and the other to escape. Your Excellency, Supreme Pontiff. Chrysanthemum Duluo appeared behind Kyan Zunji at some point and bowed in salute. What is it? Kyan Zunji did not even lift his eyelids. Your Excellency, Supreme Pontiff, this is the data on the continent-wide spirit awakening from last year. Chrysanthemum Duluo handed over a scroll. Read it to me. Kyan Zunji still had no intention of getting up. Chrysanthemum Duluo unrolled the scroll and read aloud. There were over 23 million children who underwent spirit awakening across the continent, involving tens of thousands of low-level deacons of the spirit hall. Among them, 1.87 million children had innate spirit power. 1 person had innate level 9, 2 had level 8, 11 had level 7, 103 had level 6, 765 had level 5, 3,658 had level 4, 19,548 had level 3, 105,467 had level 2, 354,876 had level 1, and the rest had innate half-level. Of those with innate level 5 or above, how many are willing to join the Spirit Hall? Kyan Zunji asked. 1 with innate level 8, 6 with level 7, 57 with level 6, and 511 with level 5. Kyan Zunji nodded slightly. Keep a close watch on those with innate spirit power above level 7. Within 6 years, send an invitation every year. If they still don't know what's good for them, do you understand what I mean? Your subordinate understands, Chrysanthemum Duluo replied. You may leave first. If Bibai Dong does anything out of line, report it to me immediately. Yes, Chrysanthemum Duluo bowed again and slowly retreated. Brother Kyan, they are all still children, can't you? Yin looked pained. Yin, I gave them a chance. Kyan Zunji sighed lightly. If they insist on refusing, I have no other choice. Innate level 7 has the potential to become a spirit Duluo. Level 8 has the potential to become a titled Duluo. Level 9, as long as the resources are in place, breaking through to titled Duluo is not a problem. For these people, it was the spirit hall that awakened their spirits. If they do not join, they may become our enemies in the future. While they are still weak, we don't need to pay much of a price. If we wait until they become strong, the price the spirit hall would have to pay would be too heavy. This is something an organization must do. Yin was silent for a moment and nodded gently. Kyan Zunji stood up and took Yin's hand. Let's go back. Let's not think about these troublesome matters. Yin's cheeks turned slightly red. She struggled symbolically and said shyly, Brother Kyan, it's still daytime. Kyan Zunji picked her up horizontally, a smile playing on his lips. I am the Supreme Pontiff. Who dares to control me? He leaned close to Yin's ear and whispered, I see that you are quite swollen there. I'll help you relax in a while. Hateful. Yin tapped him lightly, her voice as soft as a mosquito's hum. Kyan Zunji activated the spirit bone skill, teleportation, and the two instantly disappeared from the garden, appearing in a secret chamber. Several hours later, Kyan Zunji looked at Yin, who had fallen asleep from exhaustion beside him, his brows furrowed slightly. He thought to himself, why has there been no reaction at all these past few years? Bibai Dong is the same. Ever since I let her handle official business, she has been punished for mistakes every 10 days or half a month. It's been over 100 times and still no movement. Could it be that my spirit is too strong and they cannot bear it? It is possible. With the six-winged angel spirit, it might not be possible to conceive for years or even decades, and now that I am eight-winged, the time required might be even longer. P.S. Innate half-level means no massive resources. One will have no chance to become a spirit master in this life, except for that one level 29 spirit grandmaster, who was a natural genius. Level 1 can become a spirit master. Level 2 can become a spirit grandmaster with potential for spirit elder. Level 3, potential for spirit ancestor. Level 4, potential for spirit king. Level 5, potential for spirit emperor. Level 6, potential for spirit saint. Level 7, potential for spirit duo. Level 8, potential for titled duo. Level 9, can become a titled duo. Level 10, definitely a titled duo with potential for super duo. The prerequisite above is resources. Without resources, no matter how talented one is, it's useless. For those with equal talent, those with more resources are prioritized. The Spirit Hall only issues invitations to those with innate level 3 or above. Level 2 can also be admitted through recommendation. Faith must be cultivated from childhood. Chapter 43, Youthful Ambition Kayan Daeliu's Past. Enshrinement Mountain. Under a crooked-neck tree, a small boy sat cross-legged. My name is N.A.N, the second young lord of Spirit Hall. He thought to himself, I have a kind grandfather, a loving mother, a strict father, and a beautiful older sister who likes to tease me. I feel very happy. I was born at the peak of the entire continent, and I will surely be able to stand even higher in the future. 2 years ago, his father, Kayan Zunji, gave him the first level of the Tao Xuan scripture. Since then, he had spent 2 hours every day on cultivation. Unfortunately, after 2 years, his cultivation had not increased in the slightest. From the start of his cultivate to now, it had remained at the starting point. His grandfather told him that because he had innate full spirit power, his cultivation could not break through unless he absorbed a spirit ring. Innate full spirit power. Recalling this, N.A.N felt a surge of pride. He was a genius among geniuses. His father had him cultivate the Tao Xuan scripture to build a foundation, saying that although spirit power could not break through, it could be compressed. His sister had already compressed hers several times. Furthermore, the Tao Xuan scripture was a cultivation technique for triple cultivation of spirit power, physical body, and mental force. Even if spirit power could not increase, it could still enhance physical strength and mental force. Nowadays, after his daily cultivation, N.A.N would also take medicinal baths. In terms of physical strength alone, he could already contend with a spirit grandmaster. Xiao Shan. You're up so early to practice. Kayan Daeliu's voice came from behind, carrying a gentle smile. N.A.N immediately stood up and looked up at his grandfather. Good morning, Grandpa. Kayan Daeliu patted his head. Diligence is a good thing, but you are still young. This is the time for playing. You can play with the children from the other enshriners' families. I want to get stronger quickly, to be as powerful as Grandpa and Dad, N.A.N said seriously. Sai, you child, you're like a little adult. Kayan Daeliu shook his head helplessly, but his eyes were full of gratification. Grandpa, tell me a story. N.A.N pulled at the corner of Kayan Daeliu's clothes, acting spoiled. What kind of story does Xiao Shan want to hear? I want to hear stories from when Grandpa was young. All right, I'll tell you. Kayan Daeliu fell into his memories and spoke slowly. Back then, I awakened the six-winged angel spirit. My innate spirit power reached a staggering rank 17. Among my peers, no one could match me. They could only look up to me. At 6.5, I became a rank 21 spirit grandmaster. Before I was 9, I was already a rank 31 spirit elder. 12 years old, rank 41 spirit ancestor. 15 spirit king. 18 spirit emperor. 22 spirit saint. 26 spirit duoluo. 31 titled duoluo. Grandpa, I heard Dad say that you and that N.A.N were of the same generation, and were once known as the two peaks of the spirit master's world. N.A.N asked curiously. Yes, the two of us shared a mutual respect as heroes. N.A.N nodded. He is about 15 years older than me. Before him, I had never met an opponent. I break through to titled duoluo at 31. Coincidentally, he also broke through in the same year, making him the youngest spirit master to break through to titled status in the outside world at that time. At that time, I was young and headstrong, so I went to the Clear Sky sect to fight him. In the end, it was a draw. His self-created Clear Sky 9 absolutes is truly powerful. A top-tier spirit could actually fight me to a draw. After that, every time I break through, I would go find him, or he would come find me. We fought for decades with both wins and losses. Later, we both break through to rank 99 and became super duoluo, thus being known as the two peaks of the spirit master's world. Grandpa, that N.A.N only became a titled duoluo at 46, while you became one at 31. Logically, your cultivation speed must have been faster than his. Moreover, this is the enshrinement hall. The world's energy here is more than 10 times that of the outside world, and we have the angel god trial. How did he keep up with you? N.A.N tilted his head, looking puzzled. Previously, the energy in the enshrinement hall was only about 5 times that of the outside world. It was only a few years ago when the ancestral god bestowed blessings that it doubled. N.A.N was also somewhat puzzled. As for why N.A.N could keep up, I also find it strange. He had no god trial to rely on. The energy at the Clear Sky sect is only twice that of the outside, and their resources aren't as abundant as spirit halls. There's no reason for it. Golden Crocodile's talent back then wasn't inferior to his. Now, because the energy in the enshrinement hall has greatly increased, along with the assistance of the Tao Xuan scripture, he has finally touched the threshold of rank 99. He should be able to break through in a few years. What did N.A.N rely on? His full set of spirit bones. Golden Crocodile also has a full set. Grandpa, I heard you and N.A.N had one last fight and you lost. N.A.N pressed. N.A.N's expression became a bit unnatural. He gave a dry cough. At that time, I hadn't completed the 8th angel trial. We fought for 3 days and 3 nights at the Clear Sky sect's territory, and in the end, I lost by half a move. No way, Grandpa. Isn't the Clear Sky hammer just a hammer spirit? Our angel spirit's movement speed is very fast. How could you lose? Did you take his hammer with your face? N.A.N stared at him curiously. N.A.N's face darkened, and he tapped the boy's head. What kind of way is that to talk? I was showing chivalry. I wanted a head-on confrontation. The angel spirit is also an attack system spirit. How could I be cowardly? Attack system? N.A.N was even more confused. Dad said the 6-winged angel is a hexagon spirit, having attack, agility, healing, support, control, and defense. How did it become attack system? What does that brat know about the angel spirit? N.A.N snorted, his tone carrying pride. The angel spirit is sacred, powerful, and radiant. Only a forceful offensive can highlight its power. As a divine rank spirit, it must be the strongest in every field. Whether it's attack, control, or support, the angel spirit is the strongest. N.A.N nodded as if he understood, but he thought to himself, Grandpa just likes to overwhelm others in their own strengths to highlight the power of the angel spirit. Grandpa, does N.A.N have a domain? No, where would that old brat get a domain? He just has a top-tier spirit. At this point in time, N.A.N had not yet gone to the Slaughter City to seek a god position legacy, so he had not attained one. Kayan Renshin looked at Kayan Dailiu, his eyes full of inquiry. Kayan Dailiu felt a bit uncomfortable under his gaze and tapped his head again. If you have something to say it. Kayan Renshin rubbed his head in pain and muttered, Tang Chen doesn't have a domain, so how did you lose? It makes no sense. You are both experts at the same realm. You have a domain and he doesn't. Even in a head-on confrontation, it's impossible for him to win. His strength would be suppressed by the domain, and his spirit power would slowly be purified. Kayan Dailiu was a bit embarrassed. Wasn't it because that old brat didn't have a domain? We've been fighting for decades. How could I take advantage of him? If I used my domain, how could he still fight me? This is respect for an expert of the same level. Kayan Renshin opened his mouth, but ultimately said nothing more. After a while, he asked again, Grandpa, I heard Dad say the Clear Sky sect has a secret technique called ring explosion, which can instantly increase one's combat power several times over. If you didn't use your domain and directly confronted Tang Chen head-on, how could you only lose by half a move? Our angel clan is a family of gods. In a sense, ring explosion counts as a divine skill, but we also have divine skills, Kayan Dailiu said proudly. What divine skill? Kayan Renshin's eyes lit up. Holy fusion technique. It can briefly absorb the energy within the spirit rings, increasing combat power several times over. So powerful, does Dad know it too? Kayan Dailiu's expression shifted, and he shook his head. He doesn't. Learning the holy fusion technique requires a powerful physical body, and every time you perform the fusion, the body experiences tearing pain. Jir was unwilling to learn it. Xiao Shan, are you willing to learn? I am. Kayan Renshin puffed out his little chest, looking determined. Xiao Shan isn't afraid of pain. Kayan Dailiu smiled, thinking to himself. Kayan Zunji gave him the method for spirit ring fusion, but that requires spirit power of at least spirit duoluo intensity to use, and one must spend a long time retraining the spirit rings. In his view, for Xiao Shan to learn the holy fusion technique now, and then learn spirit ring fusion after growing up would be the perfect complement. Chapter 44, Kayan Rengsu returns, absorbing the external spirit bone. Enshrinement Mountain. Kayan Zunji was instructing Kayan Renshin on how to hold a horse stance, saying in a deep voice, Stand steady, sink your chi to your danshin, and don't sway. Cultivating is like building a tower. The steadier the foundation, the higher you can reach in the future. Kayan Renshin's little face was tense, and his legs were trembling slightly, but he still gritted his teeth and persisted. Dad, I can do it. At this moment, a flash of golden hair streaked by, and Kayan Rengsu, wearing a long white dress, flew in from the distance, the hem of her skirt fluttering lightly with her steps. Dad, look, sister is back. Kayan Renshin's eyes lit up, and he shouted excitedly, almost forgetting to maintain his horse stance. Xiao Zhu, you're back. Kayan Zunji turned around, his gaze falling upon his daughter. Kayan Rengsu walked forward and bowed slightly. Father, I have completed the mission. The fallen on the continent have been basically cleared out. Within 5 years, there will be no more large-scale gatherings of the fallen. Sister is so amazing. Kayan Renshin's eyes were filled with admiration. When I grow up, I want to be like sister and sweep away the fallen on the continent. Kayan Rengsu walked over, ruffled his hair, and smiled gently. Then in the future, the fallen will be left to Xiao Shan. Kayan Renshin nodded vigorously, his little face full of seriousness. I will definitely be even better than sister. Xiao Zhu, tell me about the results this time, Kayan Zunji said. Kayan Rengsu straightened her back, her tone filled with pride. This time, the Angel Legion, totaling 365 people, spent 9 months clearing out the fallen with 7 casualties. The Legion eliminated an average of 153 of the fallen per person, wiping out 3 medium-sized sects, 17 low-level sects, 93 organizations of the fallen of various sizes, and over 30,000 scattered members of the fallen. Half of the fallen on the continent were executed, 20% died while fleeing or killing each other, and the remaining 30% or so fled into Slaughter City. Oh, right, I also killed a titled Duo-level member of the Fallen. Even though she knew her father likely knew the specific situation, she still felt a sense of accomplishment when statting these battle achievements herself. Wow, sister is so amazing. Kyan Renshin's admiration deepened. Zio Shan, you need to work hard. In the future, you will lead the Angel Legion. Kyan Renksu encouraged him. I will work hard. Kyan Renshin clenched his little fists. In the future, I will make my name known throughout the entire continent. Kyan Zunji looked at his son, his eyes filled with a smile. Zio Zhu, you did well this time. Father, I have a gift for you. Kyan Renksu smiled mysteriously and took out a round bone from her spirit tool. Its entire body emitted a faint, earthy yellow halo. Oh, what gift? Kyan Zunji was somewhat curious. Ta-da! It's this, an external spirit bone. Kyan Renksu handed the bone to him. An external spirit bone. Kyan Zunji raised an eyebrow. This is a rare item. Zio Zhu, where did you get it? We passed by a hunting soul forest on our way back and encountered a 1,000-year Earth savage bear. Kyan Renksu explained, I don't know why, but when it saw us, it didn't run away. Instead, it lunged at me. I killed it with a casual strike, and I didn't expect it to drop this external spirit bone. Kyan Zunji chuckled inwardly. Is this the protagonist treatment? Getting an external spirit bone delivered to the doorstep just by going out. When did Zio Zhu become the protagonist? Opportunities are just automatically delivering themselves. Father, this is for you. Kyan Renksu pushed the spirit bone forward. You absorb it yourself. Kyan Zunji pushed it back. Have you forgotten? My god trial is to assist you. The stronger you become, the more rewards I can receive. You absorbing this external spirit bone is the best gift for me. All right then. Kyan Renksu no longer declined. She sat cross-legged, placed the external spirit bone against her wrist, and began to absorb it. Dad, what is an external spirit bone? Kyan Renshin leaned close to Kyan Zunji and asked curiously. There are 6 types of spirit bones, which means a spirit master can usually possess 6 spirit bones. Kyan Zunji asked in return. Zio Shan, do you know what those 6 are? Left leg bone, right leg bone, left arm bone, right arm bone, torso bone, and skull bone, 6 types in total. Kyan Renshin answered immediately. He had long ago memorized these basics by heart. Correct, these are the spirit bones under normal circumstances. Kyan Zunji nodded. Besides these, there are also external spirit bones, which can be absorbed additionally. There are many kinds of external spirit bones, such as Zio Zhu's bracelet, spine bones, wings, claws, and so on. Moreover, external spirit bones can grow together with the spirit master. In a sense, they are even more precious than a 100,000-year spirit bone. I want one so much. Kyan Renshin looked at the spirit bone on Kyan Renksu's wrist, his little face full of longing. In the future, you will have your own external spirit bone too. Kyan Zunji patted his head. Really? Kyan Renshin's eyes lit up. Of course, as long as you cultivate properly. Not long after, the light on Kyan Renksu's body dissipated. She slowly opened her eyes, having successfully absorbed the external spirit bone. When she stood up, the spirit bone at her wrist had already merged with her body. At the same time, Kyan Zunji felt a slight warmth at his wrist, and an identical spirit bone to Kyan Renksu's appeared. The system feedback arrived. The 1,000-year spirit bone absorbed by Kyan Renksu, a first critical hit of 3 times, a second critical hit of 3 times, totaling 9 times the feedback. He received a 9,000-year version of the same external spirit bone. Sister, what skill does your spirit bone bring? Kyan Renshin asked impatiently. Kyan Renksu's lips curled into a mischievous smile. You'll know once you try it. Kyan Renshin's heart skipped a beat. He had a bad premonition. The next second, He suddenly felt his body become light, and he floated up uncontrollably, getting higher and higher from the ground. What's happening to me? Why am I floating? He panicked, flailing his arms and legs. Dad, sister, come help me. Ziozu, this is the effect of your spirit bones skill, right? Kyan Zunji asked, knowing the answer. Yes, this spirit bones skill is very interesting. Kyan Renksu nodded with a smile. It can control magnetic fields, making an object's gravity disappear or increasing the weight of an object, up to doubling the gravity. It's just that the range is a bit small. It can only control objects within a 1-meter radius. This spirit bones skill has a lot of potential. Kyan Zunji evaluated. Right now it's only a 1,000-year one. When it grows to 10,000 or 100,000 years, the effect will definitely be stronger. Kyan Renksu's eyes flashed with anticipation. I think so too. Perhaps in the future, I can control a larger range or even change the gravity of an entire area. Kyan Renshin was still flapping about in midair. Sister, let me down. It's so high. Kyan Renksu waved her hand with a smile, releasing the gravity control. Kyan Renshin landed on the ground with a thump, patted his chest, and muttered softly, Sister is bullying me again. Kyan Zunji looked at the bickering siblings, a rare, gentle smile appearing on his face. P.S. External Spirit Bone, Earth. Chapter 45, Tang-sen awakens his spirit. Duluo continent seems different. The Clear Sky sect was unusual today. Tang-san, the only fourth-generation descendant of the sect master's line, was about to awaken his spirit. The 7 grand elders, along with Tang Zhen, Tang Zio, Tang Hao, and others were all gathered together with solemn expressions. Little San, come forward, Tang Zhen said, his voice steady. Okay, grandfather. Tang Sen stepped forward, his small face carrying a confidence that didn't match his age. He thought to himself, this life is much better than the last. Although born into the Clear Sky sect, the other 2 sects and the 2 great empires have been monitoring us under the orders of Spirit Hall. This led to a sharp drop in the sect's status. In recent years, very little fresh blood has joined, and the sect has even become an object of study for others. Because of his father, Tang Hao, the elders and sect disciples didn't like him. But with his grandfather and uncle protecting him, others didn't dare to say much. Having a grandfather feels really good. Although his father, Tang Hao, was still somewhat decadent, it didn't matter. Once he saw that Tang-sen had twin spirits, he would surely pull himself together. He was a god-king rebirth. With the resources of the Clear Sky sect, plus the assistance of the mysterious heaven skill and divine thought, his current foundation was far beyond what it had been at age 6 in his previous life. Tang Zhen channeled his spirit power, and an awakening formation lit up beneath Tang San's feet, light swirling within it. Feel the power inside your body and guide it out. Tang Sen closed his eyes and focused on feeling it. A moment later, he successfully drew out the power within him. Raising his left hand, a small clear sky hammer emerged, its body flickering with a faint trace of lightning. The clear sky hammer, and it has a beneficial mutation. Tang Zhen couldn't hide his excitement, his voice trembling slightly. Seeing this, the elders showed expressions of pleasant surprise, whispering to one another with eyes full of relief. Tang Hao, who had been silent, suddenly had his cloudy eyes light up. Little San, quickly test your spirit power. Tang Zio handed over a blue crystal ball. Tang Sen withdrew his spirit and raised his left hand to press it against the crystal ball. In an instant, the crystal ball burst with light, the dazzling glow almost illuminating the entire space. Innate full spirit power, Tang Hao suddenly gripped Tang San's shoulder, his voice filled with uncontrollable excitement. As expected of my son. A sincere smile appeared on Tang San's face. To receive his father's recognition again, warmth surged in his heart. Father, I have another spirit. Tang Sen raised his right hand, and a black-purple flower quietly bloomed. The flower looked like a sunflower, but in the center, there was a giant mouth with faintly visible fangs. Everyone was stunned. They had never seen such a spirit, yet they still couldn't hide their excitement. Twin spirits and innate full spirit power. Good. My grandson will surely lead the clear sky sect back to its peak and trample Spirit Hall underfoot, Tang Zhen said with great ambition. The elders chimed in one after another, and the atmosphere in the discussion hall became heated. Grand Elder Tang Hong, however, spoke up. Sect Master, it is indeed a great joy that Little San has twin spirits and innate full spirit power. But since ancient times, only Bibai Dong of Spirit Hall has successfully cultivated twin spirits. Everyone else died from their bodies exploding due to spirit rejection. The greatest advantage of twin spirits is that one can first add spirit rings to one spirit, and after reaching titled Duoluo, add them to the other. At that time, the spirit rings for the second spirit will be at least 50,000 years old. Cultivating the clear sky hammer as the second spirit is undoubtedly the best choice. But can Little San succeed? Furthermore, we don't understand his other spirit. If we add spirit rings haphazardly, I fear it will limit his talent and prevent him from achieving a breakthrough. The discussion hall fell silent instantly. The joy on everyone's faces faded slightly, replaced by looks of concern. I know what this spirit is. Tang San spoke, drawing everyone's attention. I've seen it in a book. This flower is called a man-eating flower. It can devour living beings and digest them to help itself grow. My man-eating flower has clearly undergone a mutation, carrying an aura of death and decay. I've named it the Hell Man-Eating Flower. Any spirit beast with an aura of darkness, death, or decay can serve as my spirit ring. He felt lucky. Fortunately, he had seen man-eating flowers in another world in his previous life, or he really wouldn't have been able to explain this spirit's origin. I didn't expect Little San to be so fond of reading at such a young age. Not bad. Tang Zio patted his head, but felt a bit puzzled. Little San's mother, that maid, had an orchid spirit. How could she give birth to such a spirit? The mutation of the clear sky hammer was also a bit strange, but it was clearly a beneficial mutation that would only make it stronger, so that was enough. Since Little San knows the characteristics of this spirit, his cultivation will have a direction from now on. Tang Zhen said in a deep voice, if he encounters a bottleneck in the future, he can just specialize in the clear sky hammer. As for the cultivation method for twin spirits, if Bibai Dong can do it, I believe Little San can as well. Our Little San is second to none. He thought to himself that even if they really encountered difficulties, he could go to Spirit Hall. For the sake of his late father's face, that old scoundrel Cayenne Dailiu should give him some face. Since the sect master has made a decision, then Little San will focus on the hell man-eating flower. Tang Hong looked at the other 6 elders. Elders, this matter concerns the prosperity of the Clear Sky sect for the next 100 years. I hope you can put aside previous unpleasantness and focus all your efforts on nurturing Little San. The sect's resources will be tilted toward him. The elders nodded one after another. We shall do so. All right, you may all withdraw, Tang Zhen instructed. The fact that Little San has twin spirits is limited to our sect's knowledge. Do not spread it. Yes, everyone responded and withdrew. After the elders left, Tang Zhen looked at Tang San and asked in a deep voice, Little San, can your hell man-eating flower digest living beings to aid your cultivation, right? Tang San nodded. Yes. What about people? Tang Zhen pressed. Tang San said frankly, it can, and the effect of converting human energy is the best. Tang Zhen, Tang Zio, and Tang Hao looked at each other, their expressions somewhat solemn. Tang Hao spoke up. Little San, devouring spirit beasts is fine, but you must never devour people to cultivate. Tang Sen nodded in agreement, but thought to himself, our Clear Sky sect is a great sect. How could we do such evil things? Father is overthinking. How could I devour people just to increase my cultivation? Over a year ago, Spirit Hall dispatched the Angel Legion to sweep across the entire continent for the fallen. Tang Zio said with emotion. Anyone who had used people for cultivation was wiped out. It lasted for 9 whole months, and the number of spirit masters on the entire continent decreased by nearly 100,000. This, Tang-san was shocked. Spirit Hall is actually so murderous. Do they really think the continent is their personal property? When our Clear Sky sect disciples cultivate, a large part of it involves hunting spirit beasts, eating their meat, and using their blood to temper our muscles and bones. Although our killing intent is heavy, we don't have the aura of others. Tang Zhen explained, the spirit master forces on the continent are divided into ranks. The high-level ones are the upper 3 sects and the lower 4 sects. The middle-level ones are forces like the 4 element academies. The low-level ones are forces with only about 100 weak spirit masters. Above these are the 2 great empires and Spirit Hall. When Spirit Hall's Angel Legion was dispatched that time, there was also a girl who defied common logic. Tang Zio added, no one has seen her spirit rings. They only know she is an 8-winged angel, a descendant of the N.A.N family. She seems to be only in her teens, yet it said she once killed a spirit duo. After 9 months of bloodletting, the spirit masters on the continent gave her the title of Slaughter Angel. Little San, if you really use people to cultivate, she will definitely storm the Clear Sky sect. Our Clear Sky sect cannot go to war with Spirit Hall. Tang-san was shaken to his core, finding it hard to believe. Angel Legion, 8-winged angel. Killing a spirit duo in her teens. Is this still the duo continent I'm familiar with? Wasn't the Angel Legion always guarding Spirit City? Where did an 8-winged angel come from? Stronger than Kayan Rangsu. Why did I never see her in my previous life? Could she have been killed by Kayan Rangsu? He stood frozen in place, unable to speak for a moment. Chapter 46, Kayan Renshin's Spirit Awakening, Golden Crocodile's Breakthrough. A few months later, Spirit City, Enshrinement Mountain. Kayan Zunji, Kayan Rangsu, Kayan Daelu Yin, the 6 enshrined, and even little Jin Yu had arrived. All eyes were fixed on Kayan Renshin, who stood in the center of the grounds. Zio Shan, come forward. Kayan Daelu spoke, his voice gentle yet filled with authority. Kayan Renshin stepped forward as instructed, his small figure standing straight. Kayan Daelu raised his hand, and a beam of light descended. A complex awakening array appeared at Kayan Renshin's feet, and as the light swirled, it enveloped him. Kayan Renshin focused, sensing the power within his body. 2 distinct types of chi were interweaving within his meridians. One was a deep blue like the ocean, the other a golden yellow like the scorching sun. Soon he raised his left hand, and a stalk of blue-silver grass quietly bloomed, its leaves emerald green, with 3 silver threads embedded in the center. He raised his right hand, and a small phantom of a 4-winged angel appeared, its wings fluttering gently, surrounded by a holy halo. Brother Kayan, Zio Shan has awakened the blue-silver king and 4-winged angel spirit. They are twin spirits. Yin could not hide her excitement, her voice trembling. Although the blue-silver king was a downgraded form of her own spirit, seeing Kayan Renshin awaken the blue-silver king made her even happier than seeing the 4-winged angel, her eyes filled with relief and pride. Congratulations, brother. Spirit Hall has produced another peerless genius. Enshrined Golden Crocodile was the first to cup his hands in congratulations. The other enshrined followed suit. This is the good fortune of our Spirit Hall. Twin spirits, his future is limitless. Zio Shan, there are 3 silver lines in the middle of your blue-silver grass. It seems different from other blue-silver grass. Jin Yu leaned forward, pointing at the blue-silver grass and asking curiously. Kayan Renshin rolled his eyes at her and explained like a little adult. Blue-silver grass is divided into 3 levels. First is ordinary blue-silver grass, which is basically a trash spirit. Second is the blue-silver king, which belongs to the high-tier spirits. The more silver lines in the center, the better the quality. Mine is the highest grade of blue-silver king, equivalent to a top-tier spirit. Third is the blue-silver emperor, which is what my mother has. It comes with the blue-silver domain and is a super spirit. Yin had explained all of this to him in detail before, so he could fully understand the mysteries of the blue-silver spirit. Both are top-tier spirits. Xiaoshan's talent is indeed excellent. Qian Zunji nodded with a smile. Xiaoshan, come over and test your spirit power. Qian Renshin walked to the spirit power crystal ball and pressed his left hand onto it. In an instant, the crystal ball lit up. Of the 20 scales, exactly 10 lit up. Innate rank 10 spirit power. Joy appeared on everyone's faces. Such talent was 1 in 10,000. Qian Dailiu also nodded, his eyes filled with satisfaction. He thought to himself, as expected, Xiaoshan had been stuck at the early stage of the first level of the Dao Xuan scripture, which exactly corresponded to innate full spirit power. The six-winged angel spirit was bestowed by the ancestral god, and only one person per generation could possess it. Unless the six-winged angel spirit master of that generation fell, the descendants could at most possess 4 wings or 2 wings. Twin spirits plus innate full spirit power. If cultivated properly, while he might not catch up to Xiao Zhu, becoming a super duo would be no problem at all. Xiaoshan, congratulations, twin spirits plus innate full spirit power. You are our spirit hall's little genius. Qian Rengsu walked over and ruffled his hair. Qian Renshin looked at the 4-winged angel phantom on his right hand, then looked at his sister, and muttered softly, "Why is it 4 wings and not 6? Sister, you had innate rank 20, and I only have rank 10. His small face was filled with dejection. I am your sister, after all. Do I need a reason to be stronger than you? Qian Rengsu put her hands on her hips and lifted her chin. Qian Renshin curled his lips, looking unconvinced, but he could not find any words to refute her. All right, you're very impressive too. Qian Rengsu softened her tone and continued to ruffle his hair. You have 2 spirits. In the future, you will be able to have 9 more spirit rings than your sister. You will definitely be as strong as your sister. Qian Renshin's eyes lit up, and he was instantly convinced, nodding vigorously. Yeah, I will definitely surpass my sister. Xiaoshan, shall we spar? Jin Yu said, eager to try. Qian Renshin backed away repeatedly. I'm not doing that. I'm only 6 years old, I don't have any spirit rings yet, and Sister Yue, you are already 13 and a spirit ancestor. I'm not fighting you. I won't use spirit rings, and I'll control my spirit power to the spirit master realm. Jin Yu was unwilling to give up. No way. Qian Renshin shook his head like a rattle drum. Your physical body strength is also at the spirit ancestor level, while I'm not even at the spirit elder level. I'm not stupid. If you want to fight, go find my sister. She's only 2 years older than you. I'll make the decision for my sister. She won't use spirit abilities or spirit bone skills. Do you take me for a fool? Jin Yu immediately waved her hands. Sister Zhu is a freak. I'm not fighting her. Little Yuer, what did you just say? Qian Rengsu's eyes turned cold, and she slowly turned her head. Jin Yu backed away in fright and hurriedly waved her hands. No, I didn't say anything. I was saying that Xiaoshan is a freak, having innate full spirit power and twin spirits. He's too amazing. Qian Rengsu rolled her eyes at her and did not pursue the matter further. Haha, the day before yesterday, I was hunting spirit beasts for the family disciples and ran into a 50,000-year-old sub-dragon spirit beast. That meat was very chewy. Golden Crocodile laughed loudly. Today, all the brothers come to my place. I'll host, and I'll take out the fine wine I've treasured for many years to celebrate for Xiaoshan. Second brother, you're actually willing to take out your fine wine. Qian Jun's eyes widened. Last time I asked you for some, you wouldn't give me any. Give it to you? Do you know anything about wine? Golden Crocodile looked at him with disdain. You were just eyeing the life force in my wine. Giving it to you would be a complete waste. Qian Jun huffed indignantly, but did not refute. Sixth brother, second brother has spoken today. We brothers will not return until we are drunk tonight, Jiang Mo said, patting Qian Jun on the shoulder. Good, we won't return until we are drunk. Kai and Jun responded immediately, and the previous unhappiness vanished instantly. You too, mind your limits. A trace of battle intent flashed in Golden Crocodile's eyes. I feel like I'm about to reach the rank 99 Super Duo. You two can just accompany me for a spar. Perhaps this is the opportunity. Kai, Jun, and Jiang Mo looked at each other and saw the excitement in each other's eyes. All right, second brother, we will accompany you for a spar. The three of them arrived at a hilltop dozens of miles away from Enshrinement Mountain and immediately began a fierce battle. For a full hour, Golden Crocodile was suppressed by the combined efforts of the two brothers, Kai, Jun, and Jiang Mo, and was forced into passive defense. If not for his Golden Crocodile King spirit, which combined offense and defense, and his astonishing defensive power, he might have really fallen into his two younger brothers' hands today. During the fierce battle, a wave of nameless rage surged into Golden Crocodile's heart, and the aura of a rank 99 Super Duo suddenly erupted, golden light shooting into the sky. That day, the hilltop where the